Chapter 363. What Su Qiling brought was undoubtedly a piece of good news. Old ancestor Dong Su was Su Qiling's master. If he could break through to the void refinement realm, it would be a good thing for Ning Fan, Su Qiling, and the Pleasure Devil Island. Without delaying any further, Ning Fan pushed open the door and went out. He pulled Su Qiling along and walked towards Su He. It seemed that because he liked the scenery of the Su River a lot, Dong Su had specially opened up an underwater cave to cultivate under the Su River. This way, he could avoid being disturbed by the experts of the Joy Devil after his identity was exposed. Ning Fan asked Su Qiling about Dong Su's situation in detail. He roughly understood that Dong Su had yet to officially enter seclusion. After all, breaking through to the void refinement realm was no trivial matter. Before that, he naturally had to make some preparations. For example, choosing a place for secluded cultivation, or getting a 6th revolution pill, the void prying pill, to increase the success rate of breaking through to the void refinement realm. For example, when he was in seclusion, the arrangements for Grotto Heaven Island, and so on. Another example was the item used to block the tribulation after breaking through to the next realm. These were all very real problems. With the foundation of the insightful emptiness realm, there were naturally ways to solve these problems. The reason why Ning Fan went to look for Dong Su was because he wanted to give him some help. To half-step void refinement realm cultivators, the key to breaking through to the void refinement realm was whether they could attain the void glimpse stage. To Ning Fan, he had already completed the void inquiry stage. In fact, he was even one level higher than the void glimpse stage. In terms of his understanding of the void power alone, Ning Fan was definitely 100 times better than Dong Su. If he could infuse his understanding of the void into a wisp of void energy and give it to Dong Su, he would definitely be able to help Dong Su a little. If he told the Dong Su realm about his experience in breaking through to the void refinement realm, it would also be beneficial to the Dong Su realm's mental state. For the time being, he could only think of these 2 points. Big brother, is there any way to help Ling Er's master increase the success rate of her advancement by 30 to 50%? Su Qiling's bright eyes sparkled. In her eyes, Ning Fan was omnipotent. You really think too highly of me. Increasing the success rate by 30 to 50%? Do you think I'm an absolute void cultivator? Or do you think that I am a 6th revolution pill master? Ning Fan could not help but laugh. He pinched Su Qiling's soft palm. This silly girl really thinks highly of me. In Ling Er's eyes, no one can compare to Big Brother. There's nothing you can't do. Su Qiling was as affectionate as before. Silly girl. It's impossible for him to be unparalleled. You haven't seen the power that stands at the pinnacle of this world. Even an immortal emperor might not necessarily be unparalleled. But don't worry, he's your master. Big brother will naturally help him. Ning Fan nodded his head. He was never stingy towards his own family members. He was indeed selfish, but he was selfish to outsiders. Only by being stingy to outsiders could he be generous to his own family. This was an unchanging truth. Big brother, you are so good to Ling Er. Su Qiling's emotions were stirred. She actually turned her body to the side and gently stood in front of Ning Fan, giving him a kiss. Her kissing technique was still very inexperienced. Other than the wedding night, she did not have too many chances to make love with Ning Fan during the 5 months in Gusu City. Compared to the desire of her body, she valued the enjoyment of her soul more. She liked to stay in Ning Fan's embrace as if this embrace was her entire world. She breathed softly, and her passion came like the rain in June, and when it began, could not be stopped. When he tasted Su Qiling's sweet lips, Ning Fan's mind was moved. After living in Gusu City for 5 months, he had taken off his black cloak and changed into a set of white robes. He seemed to have regained some of the leisure of a mortal. He also gradually fell in love with the lips and tongue of the woman he liked. Gradually, he could understand the old devil's advice. The path of devil cultivation must not lack women and wine. Women and wine were the best ways to calm the killing intent in his heart. Seeing that the beauty was stirred, Ning Fan naturally would not let her kiss down. Fortunately, old ancestor Dong Su was not in a hurry at all. It was still far from the time for him to officially enter seclusion. Thus, Ning Fan also felt relaxed. Just like that, he carried Su Qiling horizontally and laid her flat on the orchid meadow on the riverbank. Then, he hugged her tightly and pressed her under his body, asking for her willfully. Su Qiling was really a good woman. She loved Ning Fan and thus would not reject any of his requests. Instead, she tried her best to cater to Ning Fan's demands. At the riverbank, faint moaning sounds could be heard. Of course, no one could see the erotic scene between Ning Fan and Su Qiling. As for the reason, Ning Fan had activated the All-Heaven relic and concealed their figures. Only the two of them could see each other. If the ancestor of Wei knew that the All-Heaven relic that he condensed after his death was used by Ning Fan to please a beauty, no one knew how he would feel. Ning Fan had changed. He had really changed. When he was 16 years old, he put on a black feather cloak on top of his white robes in order to protect Jihe and fell into the Devil Dao. When he was 360 years old, he had been killing all along the way. Both his body and mind were exhausted. At this critical juncture, he met Lu Wanner and Su Qiling. His soul was nourished by the women one by one, allowing him to regain his former tranquility. Jihe was Ning Fan's reverse scale while Su Qiling was Ning Fan's gentle home. Rubbing Su Qiling's plump breasts, Ning Fan's hands moved between her smooth, moist and tender breasts. At this moment, Ning Fan firmly believed that being alive was a happy thing. Su Qiling responded to Ning Fan's passionate kiss and moved her waist to cater to his movements. She was very happy, just like the butterfly that plucked the orchid in the past. However, even in her next life, she was still willing to be plucked by the butterfly without asking for anything in return. The sky was dark. It was already evening. Only then did the two entangled bodies put on their clothes respectively and disperse the light that covered the sky. Be big brother, you should go and look for master yourself. Help him break through to the void refinement realm. It's not convenient for Ling Er to meet others in her current state. Su Qiling looked at the kiss mark on her neck in the small mirror that she carried with her. Her face was still flushed and she gave Ning Fan a displeased look before running back to her residence. Her eyes seemed to be blaming Ning Fan for his mistake. You were the one who seduced me first. Ning Fan looked at Su Qiling's back and suddenly felt a little emotional. In the past, he only knew how to kill and fight. He rarely cared about his women. Should he give them the care and concern that he gave Su Qiling? He realized that his state of mind had really broadened. This might be the reason why his state of mind had broken through to the early void refinement realm. It was Su Qiling. She saw through the pressure in Ning Fan's heart and helped him vent it. Master, I'm gradually understanding your advice. If I have a choice, 1,000 years of void fragmentation realm might be more suitable for me. I can live happily every day and enjoy the happiness of cultivation. However, I don't have a choice. I can only use my pitiful 100 years to fight against fate. I can't be defeated. Ning Fan's eyes gradually calmed down. There was no longer any trace of romantic feelings. What he was going to talk to Dong Su about next would be serious business. Whoosh! Ning Fan took a step forward and turned into a ray of sword light. In an instant, he traveled tens of thousands of li and disappeared at the bottom of the Su River. In front of a crystal palace at the bottom of the river, Ning Fan stopped and calmly stepped inside. In the main hall of the crystal palace, Dong Su was flipping through a jade slip on the table. It was given to him by Ning Fan in the past. The jade slip recorded Great Emperor Wan Gu's understanding of the void power. However, even though his understanding was brilliant, it might not be suitable for Dong Su's current understanding. Ancient Wan Gu's explanation of the void power included the void glimpse stage, void inquiry stage, void pierce stage, absolute void stage and void fragmentation realm. Of course, it was brilliant but also hard to understand. Dong Su's comprehension ability was extremely high. How could a person who could cultivate to the 7 venerated beings of the internal sea have a low comprehension ability? However, even with his brilliant comprehension ability, he could only sense a trace of the void trajectory from the jade slip. It was extremely difficult for him to completely understand the essence of the void power. Music that was too elegant might not be suitable for both refined and common people. On the other hand, the music of the commoners would resonate more with people. It was the same logic. Pa Dong Su let out a long sigh and heavily placed the jade slip on the table. His mind was in a mess. He had clearly touched the bottleneck of the void refinement realm, but he could not further comprehend the void power and increase his chances of breaking through to the void refinement realm. Difficult. The void refinement realm is indeed extremely difficult to break through. After that sigh, a chuckle was immediately heard. Oh. Fellow Taoist, Dong Su also has times where you are afraid of difficulties. You should know that the path of Tao seeking is extremely difficult. If you do not have the ambition to be fearless of hardships and dangers, how can you climb to a higher level? Life will not always go according to your wishes. It's normal for you to be tricked once or twice. Fellow Taoist, you're too naive. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with an inexplicable smile. His figure appeared in the main hall. His arrival did not surprise Dong Su too much. However, his words were like a clap of thunder in spring, enlightening the deaf and enlightening him, making him repent. That was close. Even though Ning Fan's words sounded like a joke, it was undoubtedly a reminder to Dong Su. Just now, Dong Su was immersed in comprehending the void refinement realm. After suffering a setback, he became disheartened and actually committed the greatest taboo of cultivation. Being fearful of adversity. If it wasn't for Ning Fan's reminder, this failure would probably leave a shadow in Dong Su's Tao heart, causing this heart devil to appear whenever he attempts to break through to the void refinement realm in the future, reminding him that it was impossible for him to succeed. It was Ning Fan's words that saved his path of Tao cultivation. Ha! Thank you for your kind advice, fellow Taoist Zhou. Ling didn't come with you. Su Qiling was not present, but Dong Su actually addressed Ning Fan as fellow Taoist as if they were on the same level. It was not just because Ning Fan's strength was outstanding and he was already on the same level as the 7 venerated beings of the internal sea. It was also because Dong Su admired Ning Fan's Tao comprehension and his temperament. Addressing each other as fellow Taoist was really the best way to do so. In the cultivation world, it was not strange to have friends despite the difference in age. Dong Su's eyes carried an inexplicable smile. He purposely took a few more glances at Ning Fan's sleeves. Ning Fan's sleeves were stained with a lot of women's rouge and powder. Without a doubt, Ning Fan must have dual cultivated with Su Qiling just now. Given Dong Su's temperament, he naturally guessed that Su Qiling must have not come because she could not meet anyone after dual cultivating. Fellow Taoist Zhou, you look radiant and you are good at understanding others' clothes. You're not simple. You're really not simple. Ning Fan shook his head speechlessly. Who would have thought that a supreme being of the endless sea would joke with him in private? Cut the nonsense. Fellow Taoist Dong Su, I have roughly heard about your situation from Ling. It's really a good thing that you've broken through to the void refinement realm. Other than the jade slip about comprehending the void, there are 2 other things that I can help you with. Oh. I'd like to hear the details. Dong Su was rather surprised. He did not expect that Ning Fan could still give him 2 pointers. If an ordinary person were to tell Dong Su, I want to give you pointers, Dong Su would certainly turn hostile and think that the other person was humiliating him. However, Ning Fan was different. He had completely subdued Dong Su with just the jade slip about comprehending the void. That kind of profound comprehension was not something that a divine transformation realm cultivator could have. The depth of Ning Fan's Tao comprehension made Dong Su feel tiny and insignificant. Dong Su believed that Ning Fan was not someone who would play to the gallery. If he said that he could give him pointers on 2 things, he would definitely be able to do so. Firstly, I can give fellow Taoists some pointers about your mental state. Mental state. That's right. I witnessed your mental state breaking through to the void refinement realm during the battle of exterminating the ocean. Dong Su's face was filled with joy. He knew that Ning Fan was not a person who would make empty promises. Currently, Dong Su's mental state was just at the half-step void refinement realm. If Dong Su could obtain the enlightenment of Ning Fan's mental state and break through to the void refinement realm first, it would be greatly beneficial to his cultivation base. Fellow Taoist, may I ask if there are any other fortunes that you can give me other than mental state pointers? Dong Su's expression was filled with sincerity. He did not feel embarrassed at all after being bestowed good fortune by Ning Fan. It was enough to show how highly he regarded Ning Fan. Secondly, I can tell you my understanding of the force of the void. Although I don't know how much it will help you, I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Ning Fan pointed his finger and a pitch-black, thin thread shot out from his finger. It was none other than the power of the void. In an instant, whole void seemed to have fallen into a daze, and he was shocked beyond belief. He thought that he had already thought highly of Ning Fan. However, this pitch-black line made him realize once again that he had underestimated Ning Fan. The power of the void. Ning Fan could actually control a trace of void power. There was only one explanation, and only one possible explanation. Could it be that fellow Taoist has broken through to the void inquiry stage? Dong Su's voice was slightly sharp because of his excitement. The difficulty of a void inquiry stage cultivator was much harder than a void glimpse stage cultivator. The void glimpse stage was just to pry into the void force. However, the void inquiry stage did not only include prying into it but also controlling it. Even though it was just the bottleneck of the void glimpse stage, it nearly suffocated him to the point where his heart nearly turned cold. However, Ning Fan had already broken through to the void inquiry stage. Even countless early void refinement realm experts were stuck at the void inquiry stage. In other words, as long as Ning Fan has enough opportunities, it would not be difficult for him to cultivate all the way to the mid-void refinement realm. Monster. You really are a monster. Dong Su stared at Ning Fan with a strange look in his eyes. Could a cultivator who had yet to attain the void refinement realm break through to the void inquiry stage? Could a cultivator who had yet to reach the void fragmentation realm master soul extraction and incarnation? Ning Fan did it. If he wasn't a monster, what was he? I'm giving fellow Taoist benefits, but fellow Taoist is calling me a monster. It doesn't seem appropriate, does it? Ning Fan joked. Of course not. The two benefits that fellow Taoist has given me can at least increase my chances of breaking through by 10%. Fellow Taoist, please do not underestimate this 10% chance. For ordinary cultivators, it is already difficult for them to even have a 1% chance of breaking through to the void refinement realm. Since fellow Taoist has given me such great benefits, I naturally have to repay fellow Taoist. Oh. Does fellow Taoist Dong Su have something good to repay me with? Ning Fan could not help but laugh. He vaguely remembered that Dong Su had given him all the treasures of the heavenly abode and spiritual puppet ores that he had accumulated. What other good things are hidden in the cave void? Could it be that fellow Taoist has forgotten? I also have two benefits that I have yet to give you. Dong Su smiled mysteriously. Oh. I would like to hear the details. Ning Fan withdrew his smile and said with a serious tone. Firstly, this drop of true immortal blood on my glabella can help fellow Taoist divine one thing. Fellow Taoist must remember to use it. Secondly, I once told you that I have a third of the map of the Thunder Sovereign's tomb. Do you still remember? The Thunder Sovereign's tomb. I have heard about it before. I have also seen some information about it from the memories of Zigu and the others. It is said that the Thunder Sovereign's tomb is the property of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. It seems to be the relic of Thunder Sovereign Buzhou. It is a small kiliacosm treasure that is of a high grade. It can bring great benefits to one's cultivation. However, I don't know about the details. It seems like a quota is needed to enter the tomb. However, it is my first time hearing that a map is needed to enter the tomb after I return to the external endless sea. Hee. That is a great place. It is a great benefit that Emperor Zhou left for the divine transformation realm cultivators of the endless sea. As a matter of fact, the place that I want to break through to the void refinement realm the most is the Thunder Sovereign's tomb. I only managed to draw a third of the map after entering it several times. Breaking through to the void refinement realm in the Thunder Sovereign's tomb? Ning Fan suddenly became very interested in the Thunder Sovereign's tomb. Most of the cultivators who want to break through to the void refinement realm would choose the Lost World Palace because it would save a lot of time. As for the remaining half of them, they would probably choose to break through in the void. After all, even though cultivating in the void was slower and more dangerous, it was easier to glimpse the void glimpse stage. Ning Fan originally guessed that Dong Su would probably choose one of the two places to enter seclusion for the void refinement realm. However, he did not expect that he would choose the Thunder Sovereign's tomb. How mysterious exactly is the Thunder Sovereign's tomb that it could even make Dong Su obsessed with it? The Sovereign's tomb. Ning Fan suddenly recalled Lu Jiefen's words. Lu Jiefen had once said that he was a cultivator who had entered the Sovereign's tomb. Could he be talking about the Thunder Sovereign's tomb? The Thunder Sovereign's tomb. Thunder Sovereign Buzhou, the former master of the Endless Sea, is rumored to be dead. Is he really dead? May I ask why the Endless Sea is not restricted by the Rain World Law of the Rain Palace, fellow Taoist Dong Su? Ning Fan seemed doubtful. What do you think, fellow Taoist? Dong Su smiled mysteriously. In the past, I thought that the reason why the Endless Sea is not under the control of the Rain World was because there are void fragmentation realm experts living in seclusion in this place. However, now that I think about it, it might not be the case. It is also possible that the Thunder Sovereign's tomb that fellow Taoist mentioned constitutes some kind of benefit for the Rain Palace which made them feel apprehensive. That's why they gave the Endless Sea special privileges. Fellow Taoist only guessed half of it in the past. Now, you're also only guessing half of it. You're right. There are two reasons why the Rain Palace gave up on controlling the Endless Sea. Firstly, it's because of the Thunder Sovereign's tomb. Secondly, it's because that person seems to be dead but not yet. That person is still alive. He is not dead like what the rumors say. The so-called tomb is also an illusion. Other than the higher-ups of the Rain Palace and the 7 venerated beings of the Internal Sea, no one else knows about the news of that person's survival. That person? Ning Fan's eyes flickered. Both Lu Jiefen and Dong Su seemed to be very clear about the existence of that person. That's right. It's that person. That person is Thunder Sovereign Buzhou. Lord Thunder Sovereign is still alive. Dong Su's eyes flashed with a hint of fanaticism. Thunder Sovereign Buzhou was a legend. His comprehension of the Thunder Tao was so high that it was unparalleled in the 9 realms. He had fought against the 3 sovereigns of the Sword World without losing. The tomb of the Thunder Emperor that he created possessed an extremely mysterious ability that made every divine transformation realm cultivator in the Rain World go crazy. Thunder Monarch Buzhou. Ning Fan took a deep breath. He could feel the weight of this name. Fighting the 3 emperors of the Sword World alone, this result was even more impressive than the Sword God in White defeating the Sword Emperor with 1 sword. I wonder how this Thunder Emperor Buzhou is compared to Moksha Emperor. Chapter 364. Ning Fan gave Dong Su 2 items. One was a jade slip and the other was a pitch-black pearl. The jade slip recorded the process of his mental state breaking through. The pitch-black pearl was condensed from a trace of void power and it contained Ning Fan's comprehension when he was at the void inquiry stage. While those 2 items might seem ordinary, they held great significance to the insightful emptiness realm. He carefully kept the 2 items. Even though he tried to stay calm, he could not hide the joy in his eyes. These 2 items could at least increase Dong Su's chances of breaking through to the void refinement realm by 10%. This 10% chance was enough to move any half-step void refinement realm cultivator's heart. I can't thank you enough. Dong Su's eyes were solemn. In the past, his relationship with Ning Fan was just a transaction. He helped Ning Fan 3 times and Ning Fan gave him the comprehension of void power. Later on, Ning Fan's relationship with Su Qiling deepened step by step. Dong Su also gradually became friends with Ning Fan. Today, Ning Fan gave Dong Su some benefits without holding anything back. It was a timely help. Dong Su could not help but feel grateful. If he breaks through to the void refinement realm one day, he would never forget Ning Fan's kindness. Dong Su no longer hesitated. He took out a jade slip and made a copy of its contents before giving it to Ning Fan. Ning Fan received the jade slip and scanned it with his spirit sense. At the next moment, his eyes turned serious. A map? This is. The more Ning Fan looked at it, the more detailed the map was. Not only were there detailed maps, but there were also many annotations. Most importantly, there was a detailed description of the Thunder Sovereign's tomb by Dong Su. The Thunder Sovereign's tomb was a small kiliocosm treasure. It was not called White Lightning Realm in the first place. This treasure was obtained by Thunder Sovereign Buzhou when he was young. It was the item that made him famous and also the place where he passed away. Thunder Sovereign Buzhou died in the White Lightning Realm and left it in the Zhou clan of the Internal Endless Sea. From then on, the White Lightning Realm was renamed as the Thunder Sovereign's Tomb. Before the Thunder Sovereign passed away, he spent a lot of effort to transform the White Lightning Realm into a mysterious world. The Sovereign Tomb. The Sovereign Tomb contained the inheritance of the Thunder Sovereign throughout his life. There were also many dangerous trials. To enter the Sovereign Tomb, one had to obtain a quota from the Zhou clan from the Zhou clan. Every 100 years, the Zhou clan would give out a quota of 10 people. Every person who obtains the quota would be given a lightning jade. As long as they are in the rain world, they could enter the lightning jade anytime and anywhere and appear in the tomb. That's right, it was only a sliver of a soul that entered the Sovereign Tomb, not the body of a cultivator. At this point, Ning Fan could not help but admire Thunder Sovereign Buzhou whom he had never met before. The rain world was vast. As long as one was in the rain world, no matter which cultivation country he was in, he could enter the Sovereign Tomb anytime and anywhere with the help of the Thunder Jade. This method was not something that ordinary people could do. The greatest benefit of entering the Sovereign Tomb was to cultivate. For example, if a cultivator wasn't in the Endless Sea but within the 800 cultivation countries, he could use the Thunder Jade's soul fragment to travel to the Sovereign Tomb in the Inner Sea. Inside the Sovereign Tomb, there were countless remnant souls of experts. They turned into monsters and attacked anyone who entered the Sovereign Tomb. The remnant souls of those experts were all killed by the Thunder Sovereign when he was still alive and imprisoned in the Sovereign Tomb using a secret technique of the Thunder Dao. No one would die in a fight in the Sovereign Tomb. When the remnant soul of an expert was killed by a cultivator, it would only take some time for it to reform with the help of the lightning power. If the cultivators who entered the Emperor's tomb were to die under the attacks of the remnant souls, they would only suffer a mental injury and would not cause too much damage to their bodies. They would not die, but they could experience life and death killings and even the feeling of death. The Thunder Sovereign's tomb was indeed too mysterious. However, if there were only these benefits, the Thunder Sovereign's tomb would not attract cultivators. The Thunder Sovereign's tomb was a place where cultivators fought and killed. Only a trace of the Thunder Sovereign's soul fragment entered the Sovereign Tomb. Therefore, there was no cultivation in the Sovereign Tomb. The cultivators who entered the Sovereign Tomb had to advance step by step from the bottom. Every cultivator who entered the Sovereign Tomb for the first time was only at level 1 vein opening. The way to increase one's cultivation was very simple. That was to kill the remnant souls in the Sovereign Tomb and obtain the Sovereign Tomb Dao fruit. This was not a real Dao fruit, but a Dao fruit imitated by the Thunder Sovereign using the lightning power. Its effect was far inferior to the real Dao fruit. However, there was one benefit. Consuming such a Tao fruit could not only increase the cultivation of the Thunder Sovereign's soul fragment but also the cultivation of the body. Outside the rain world, wanton killing was not allowed. Moreover, there was a risk of being killed while killing and robbing treasures. Therefore, the Tao fruit was extremely rare. However, in the sovereign tomb, there was no need to feel guilty for killing the remnant souls. It would not hurt one's Tao heart. Moreover, one could obtain the Tao fruit. It was undoubtedly the best place to train oneself. In some places where the remnant souls resided, there were spiritual medicines, magic treasures and other inheritances of the Thunder Sovereign. There were also many cultivators who formed teams in the sovereign tomb to attack the nests of the monsters in order to obtain the inheritance of the Thunder Sovereign. Some cultivators came here for the sake of killing while others came here for the Thunder Emperor's legacy. The Thunder Sovereign had left behind countless treasures in his life. Among them, the most precious one was the lightning vein cultivation method, incomplete lightning vein. Rumor had it that this cultivation method was in the deepest part of the sovereign tomb. It was guarded by a few void fragmentation realm remnant souls. Until now, no one had been able to obtain it. There was no other way. Even if a void fragmentation realm cultivator's soul fragment entered the sovereign tomb, he or she would need to improve his or her cultivation base step by step. In order to obtain this cultivation method, one must at least cultivate his or her soul to the void fragmentation realm. Obviously, it was impossible. It was already extremely difficult for one's true body to cultivate to the void fragmentation realm. It was even more ridiculous for a trace of his or her soul to cultivate to the void fragmentation realm. Even so, there were still countless cultivators who flocked to the sovereign tomb to kill and cultivate. No matter what, the killing in this place had nothing to do with life and death. Even if one's soul fragment dies in the sovereign tomb, it would only hurt his or her true body. Thus, it was the best place to train oneself. The Thunder Sovereign's tomb. This place is isolated from the rest of the world. It's a world of its own. Those who possess a lightning jade can't enter it. After entering, they have to obey the Thunder Sovereign's decree, slay the monsters and seize the Tao fruits in order to advance their cultivation base. The Thunder Sovereign is truly a peerless genius. I'm afraid no one in the past or the future will be able to come up with such a mysterious place to train oneself. Ning Fan sighed. If he had a lightning jade, he would be more than willing to enter the sovereign tomb to broaden his horizons. If he could cultivate his soul fragment to the divine transformation realm after entering the sovereign tomb, killing divine transformation realm remnant souls would be as easy as killing ants. By then, he would be able to obtain an endless amount of divine transformation realm Tao fruits which would greatly improve his strength. The thought flashed across his mind for a moment but was immediately extinguished. Another doubt rose in his mind. His eyes turned solemn and asked Dong Su. However, there's one thing that I don't understand. Why did the Thunder Sovereign create this kind of world treasure space before he passed away? Indeed, the Thunder Sovereign's tomb is the best place for juniors to cultivate. However, I don't think that a void fragmentation realm sovereign who was on the verge of death would pay such a huge price to leave a blessing for his juniors. I'm afraid that the Thunder Sovereign created this tomb for other reasons. Fellow Taoist Dong Su clearly said that the Thunder Sovereign had passed away, but you also said that the Thunder Sovereign is not dead yet. Could it be that Thunder Sovereign Buzhou's half-dead and half-alive state is related to the Thunder Sovereign's tomb? Ning Fan seemed to have thought of something. His question made Dong Su nod his head in approval and explain. That's right. Fellow Taoist is indeed an intelligent person. The Thunder Sovereign certainly didn't create this tomb just to benefit his descendants. In the past, the Thunder Sovereign was severely injured and was on the verge of death. There was no cure for him. He knew that death was irreversible. Thus, he created the Sovereign Tomb and used his great abilities to allow the remnant souls of the cultivators he killed in the past to exist in a special form inside the tomb. I've told you before that these remnant souls that are placed inside the Sovereign Tomb cannot be killed. Even if they are killed by cultivators, they can use the lightning power to return to their original form and reconstruct their remnant souls after some time. The Thunder Sovereign had sealed his remnant soul inside the sovereign tomb. He could be said to have died 10,000 years ago, or he could be living in a strange state inside the sovereign tomb. No one can tell whether he's dead or alive. However, as long as the Thunder Sovereign's remnant soul is still inside the sovereign tomb, the Rain Palace won't dare to act recklessly in the endless sea. Dong Su's eyes were filled with admiration. Even if Thunder Sovereign Buzhou had died, he still had a way to seal his remnant soul inside the sovereign tomb and achieve another kind of undying state. Even if Thunder Sovereign Buzhou was only left with a remnant soul, it was enough to make the divine sovereign of the rain world fearful. This was the reputation of Thunder Sovereign Buzhou. Dong Su patted his storage pouch and took out a lightning jade. He handed it to Ning Fan and let him have a look at it. It was a silver jade token which had already been recognized by Dong Su as its master. Is this the lightning jade? Ning Fan's face turned solemn. That's right. This is the lightning jade. It's a necessary item to enter the sovereign tomb. However, because it has already recognized its master, I can't give it to you. Otherwise, you can use this lightning jade to enter the sovereign tomb and gain some experience. Every 100 years, the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea will give out 72 lightning jades. The Thunder Sovereign had fallen 10,000 years ago. During these 10,000 years, there were 7,200 lightning jades in the Rain world. Most of them were obtained by the Rain Palace. After obtaining these lightning jades, they must recognize and refine them before they can be used. Thus, they can't be given to others. 10 years later, the Zhou clan will have the chance to give out the jade tokens. There will be 72 slots. If you have the time, you can go and fight for it. With your strength, it won't be difficult for you to get a lightning jade. If you can get the lightning jade that is ranked first, you will obtain a great opportunity. Among the people who obtain the lightning jade, the person who is ranked first will obtain the bestowment lightning jade. It contains a trace of bestowment power from the Thunder Sovereign. Refining it can greatly improve one's cultivation base. All of us, the 7 venerated beings of the Internal Sea, have won the first place in the competition for the lightning jade. Dong Su stared at Ning Fan deeply. He believed that with Ning Fan's strength, even if he has to compete against the Divine Transformation Realm and Rain Palace's geniuses of the Internal Sea, he would still be able to obtain the first place. The tomb of the Thunder Sovereign was filled with opportunities everywhere. To Ning Fan, who was in urgent need of improving his strength, it was a great temptation. 10 years later, Ning Fan nodded his head. If he is still in the endless sea 10 years later, he would certainly go and fight for the lightning jade. Ning Fan never had the intention to let go of opportunities. However, since there are still 10 years before the quota for the Thunder Sovereign's tomb will be given out, it was a little too early to think about it now. Fellow Taoist Dong Su, how long do you need to prepare to break through to the Void Refinement Realm with the help of the Sovereign Tomb? Ning Fan changed the topic and asked. If it's short, it'll be a few years. If it's long, it'll be a few decades. Breaking through to the Void Refinement Realm is not a small matter. However, with your help, I'm still quite confident. For the first step, I'm going to stay in Gusu and imitate your state of mind. With me here, Gusu will be fine. The Pleasure Devil Island will also be fine. Is that so? In that case, fellow Taoist Dong Su's breakthrough in the Sovereign Tomb won't happen in the next few years, right? That's good too. If I get a lightning jade 10 years later, I might be able to enter the Sovereign Tomb and help fellow Taoist achieve a breakthrough. Hee. If that day really comes, I'll have to rely on fellow Taoist to protect me. Dong Su smiled and did not think too much about it. I'm going to leave for a few days to settle some mundane matters in the external endless sea. After that, I'll go into seclusion in the Lost World Palace to completely refine all the things I've obtained from killing so that I can enter the internal endless sea in my strongest state. Perhaps a few months or maybe a few years. Ning Fan pondered. When Dong Su heard that Ning Fan was going to leave, he immediately said with surprise. You're going to leave for a few years. If that's the case, why don't you let Ling Er stay in Gusu for the time being? Her fate has been completed and her strength has increased tremendously. She's not far away from the divine transformation realm now. During the few years you're gone, she might have a chance to achieve that. Ling Er, divine transformation realm? That's good too. If that's the case, I'll concoct some pills for her before I leave to help her succeed. The figures of two ladies appeared in front of Ning Fan's eyes. One of them was Su Qiuling and the other was Yin Suqiu. These two ladies seemed to be on the verge of attaining the divine transformation realm. Perhaps, I can concoct some pills for Suqiu. He fell into deep thought. These ladies are my family members. My family. With them around, even if I have to wander around the world, where isn't my home? My family. Other than them, my master and my younger brother, there seems to be another family. Mother, he seemed to have thought of something. He stared at Dong Su with a hint of hesitation and nervousness in his eyes. Even though there was only a hint of nervousness, it was extremely rare to see such an expression in Ning Fan's eyes. Fellow Taoist Dong Su, can you use the blood of a true immortal to perform a divination for me? A very important matter. Oh. Of course I can. However, the blood of a true immortal can only be used once. Fellow Taoist, have you thought about what you want me to perform a divination on? Dong Su was secretly surprised. He had never seen Ning Fan being nervous before. It was enough to show how important this divination was to Ning Fan. I've already thought about it. Please help me find a person. There were too many things in Ning Fan's mind that he wanted to perform a divination on. He wanted to find the person who plotted against Old Devil, but Wei Xian had already told him. He wanted to find Qi Weiliang's 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls. However, he already had some guesses about the whereabouts of the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls. He wanted to know who was the one who changed his fate and plotted against his luck. However, compared to the whereabouts of that person, all of these were not worth mentioning. He wanted to find that person. When he was in the Sea of Clouds, he found out that that person was still alive through various clues. He wanted to find that person and bring him back. Find someone. Who? Her name is Ning Qian. Ning Fan's tone was calm but his eyes were filled with mixed feelings. Ning Qian was his mother. He did not know whether his mother was still alive or not. Everything was just his speculation. If the result of Dong Su's divination was that his mother had passed away, then his expectation would be in vain. Ning Qian. It seems to be the name of a woman. Is she your woman? Cough, fellow Taoist Zhou, you are really a romantic. Dong Su casually laughed but was interrupted by Ning Fan's angry gaze. She is my mother. Ning Fan couldn't help but be angry. His parents were not something that could be joked about. Cough cough, this old man misspoke. Dong Su was inwardly surprised. Ning Fan actually asked him to use the blood of a true immortal to divine his mother's whereabouts. He is indeed a filial son. Do you have her face? Keepsake? Aura? Dong Su asked. I only know her face. With a wave of his hand, he took out a brush and ink and closed his eyes to recall Ning Qian's appearance. The Ning Qian in Yun Ruowei's dream, the Ning Qian who pitted her son on the 10 Steps Bridge and the Ning Qian who cooked for Ning Fan in the illusory realm of the Tao-seeking cliff. The images overlapped with each other. Ning Fan waved his brush and drew a dignified lady with kind eyes on the paper. If it's only the appearance, I won't be able to divine much information. I can only do my best. Dong Su memorized the portrait in his heart. He sat on his seat and pinched his fingers to divine. A trace of blood-red light flickered between his eyebrows, and a vast pressure flowed out of his body. However, it was sealed within a 30-foot radius, and did not leak too far. Ning Fan clenched his fists tightly. He was waiting for Dong Su to give him a satisfactory answer. He had always thought that he had no parents. Now that he found out that his mother might still be alive, he would naturally spare no effort to find her. The time it takes for an incense stick to burn passed. 2 hours passed. 1 day passed. Dong Su's face gradually turned pale as if performing divination was extremely difficult for him. I can't see it clearly. I can't see it clearly. Her fate has also been touched by someone. Her fate has been concealed by someone. However, since it's fellow Taoist Zhou's request, I will do it for you even if I have to risk my life. Dong Su's eyes flashed with a stern look. In the life of a cultivator, they would be heartless and cut off from worldly affairs. However, Ning Fan was willing to find his mother. This made Dong Su admire him. One must fulfill one's promise and fulfill one's promise. Even though Dong Su did not know who was so powerful that he could actually conceal her fate, he was willing to do his best to repay Ning Fan's kindness. Blood, break. A ruthless look appeared in Dong Su's eyes. With a shake of his magic power, the true immortal blood between his eyebrows was shattered. Immediately, his chest felt as if it had been hit by a heavy blow. He fell off the chair and onto the ground, coughing up blood. However, there was a hint of excitement in his eyes. By relying on self-damage arts, when he shattered the true immortal's blood, his insight void actually shook off a shred of concealment and saw the mysteries of heaven. Fellow Taoist Zhou, I've divined it. The heavenly fate shows that if we want to find Ning Qian, we need to find one person. When he thought of this, Dong Su suddenly showed a look of hesitation. He did not know whether he should tell Ning Fan the result of his divination or not. Who are you looking for? Ning Fan's eyes lit up with joy. Since he could still find his mother, it naturally meant that she was still alive. If one could not fulfill filial piety in life, how could one rest in peace after death? He wanted to find his mother and make up for his unfulfilled filial duty. We are going to look for the white-robed sword god, Yun Tianjue. Cough cough, perhaps my divination was wrong. Fellow Taoist, please don't take it to heart. Dong Su, who had always been calm, actually felt a trace of fear when he said this name. He did not know if it was a mistake to ask Ning Fan to look for this person. That Yun Tianjue was a sword devil who killed without batting an eyelid. Yun Tianjue. Even Ning Fan's heart trembled a little when he heard this name. After going through so many hardships in the cultivation world for so many years, he was no longer the young boy he was in the past. How could he not know about the famous white-robed sword god? When a sword comes from the west, the world bows its head. With a sword in his hand, he dares to fight against the heavens. That Yun Tianjue was not only extremely strong but also had a cold, arrogant, eccentric, temperamental and merciless. Ning Fan frowned inwardly. Could it be that he had to ask Yun Tianjue about his mother's whereabouts? Putting aside the fact that he did not know where Yun Tianjue was, even if he did not know if he would anger that person again and turn him into ashes if he asked Yun Tianjue. Fellow Taoist Zhou, I have something to advise you. There are still other ways for you to find your mother. If it's not necessary, don't get involved with that Yun Tianjue. 1,000 years ago, that person was just at the nascent soul realm. 1,000 years later, he advanced to the void fragmentation realm. He is extremely strong, but he is also the most ruthless and cold-blooded person. According to rumors, when Yun Tianjue broke through to the void fragmentation realm, he went crazy and even killed his fourth brother. Because he killed the fourth prince of the Rain Palace, the divine sovereign punished him severely and he even crippled one of his arms. He killed my fourth brother. Ning Fan frowned. He could not help but have a bad impression of Yun Tianjue. From his point of view, the people in this world were roughly divided into 3 types: mortals, enemies and relatives. Ning Fan was unwilling to kill mortals. When cultivators step into a battle, they would definitely fight to the death. They were enemies. As for his relatives, even if Ning Fan dies, he would not kill his own relatives. Ning Fan naturally looked down on that Yun Tianjue a little. Even though his strength was strong and his innate talent was high, it would certainly be difficult for him to go far in the Great Tao with such cold-blooded behavior. I will remember fellow Taoist Dong Su's kind advice. If it's not necessary, I won't provoke such a ruthless person. However, no matter what, I will find her. A thought flashed across Ning Fan's mind. If I can't find Yun Tianjue, I will go and find Yun Ruowei. He remembered that he had met Ning Qian once in Yun Ruowei's dream. Perhaps Yun Ruowei knows something. Looking at Ning Fan's thoughtful eyes, Dong Su found it very interesting. Out of 10,000 evils, lust is the worst. Out of 100 virtues, filial piety comes first. Ning Fan possessed both lust and filial piety. This young man is really an extreme person. Chapter 365. After having a detailed discussion with Dong Su, he returned to the Zhou mansion and began his seclusion to concoct pills. 3 months later, Ning Fan left Gusu city and left 4 pills for Su Qiuling. The Mystic Blood Pill, the Separation and Reunion Pill, the General Breakthrough Pill, and the Cloud Birth Pill were all items that could increase the chances of reaching the soul formation level. I'm leaving. Ning Fan stroked the side of Su Qiuling's face and nodded at Bai Su to signal him to leave. He had stayed in Gusu for a long time. There were too many things that prevented him from staying here. Before entering the Eternal Endless Sea, there were some things he had to do. At the same time, Ning Fan sent out a message transmitting Flying Sword, ordering Yu Long to bring some people to do something. The more, the better. Celestial Jade wasn't a problem at all. All of this was naturally for Luoyu, who was still in a deep sleep. In order to save Ning Fan, Luoyu had exhausted the last of her primordial spirit's power and eventually fell into a deep slumber. If she is not awakened as soon as possible, her life would be in danger. She had saved him from danger several times. It was impossible for him to abandon her. If he wanted to awaken the power of his primordial spirit, he would need some precious medicine, and he would also need to cultivate the yin-yang transformation to the 3rd layer as soon as possible. Once he cultivated to the 3rd level, he would be able to open the profound Yin world and rescue Luoyu. We must be quick. We can't let her primordial spirit die. Ning Fan's eyes were solemn. The yin-yang transformation was already at the peak of the 2nd level. He only needed an opportunity to break through to the next level. That opportunity was to have dual cultivation with a void fragmentation realm female cultivator. However, this was obviously unrealistic. He had already made up his mind to break through his bottleneck through dual cultivation with over 1,000 human cauldrons. This was not something that was pleasing to the eye. He did not want to do it in Gusu. The beam of light transformed into a stream of purple smoke, drifting to a devil island 10 million miles away. This island was a gathering place for bandits. It was only 10,000 miles wide and wasn't too big. There was a demonic city on the island, and there were thousands of demonic cultivators stationed there. They seemed to have just plundered a 3rd-rate faction and plundered many immortal jades and spirit herbs. The people on the island were celebrating, but in the next moment, accompanied by a loud rumble, the island's great protective array was shattered by a finger. How dare you? Which rascal dares come to my Molan Island to cause trouble? A burly early-stage nascent soul cultivator, who seemed to be the leader of the group of cultivators, was already half-drunk. Hearing that the island was being attacked, he immediately led some people out of the city to investigate. Thousands of cultivators swarmed out of the city. As far as they could only see a young man in white standing in the sky without saying a word. This young man's aura was as vast as the ocean, but it was not leaking out in the slightest. Ordinary cultivators would not be able to tell his exact cultivation level. Seeing that there was only one person attacking the island, several gold core cultivators revealed a mocking expression. They waved their blades and soared into the sky, ready to attack the young man. However, with the young man's indifferent eyes, several Jindan stage men suddenly had goosebumps. They only felt that they were being stared at by a fierce beast. When they saw the young man's face again, the thousands of cultivators trembled at the same time, and the nascent soul leader was so scared that he sobered up. He's one of the 8 venerables of the internal sea, revered Ming. Stop. Everyone stop. No one is allowed to provoke him. This nascent soul stage leader was also a ruthless person who had killed countless people. However, when the young man glanced at him, he felt his nascent soul tremble. It was as if the young man could destroy his cultivation with just a thought. Thousands of devil cultivators did not wait for the young man to speak. All of them put down their magic treasures and knelt on the ground, kowtowing desperately. Revered Ming, please spare our lives. Please don't slaughter the island. We didn't know that the Luoyang sect was related to revered Ming. We are guilty. Please calm down, revered Ming. The nascent soul stage leader felt like killing himself. He had just led a group of bandits to annihilate the Luoyang sect, a third-rate force, and plundered a large amount of wealth. However, he did not expect to provoke Zhou Ming before he could celebrate. The nascent soul stage leader suddenly recalled that one of the elders of the Luoyang sect had the surname Zhou. He shuddered inwardly. Could it be that the elder surnamed Zhou is Zhou Ming's descendant? Zhou Ming is here to slaughter the island for revenge. It's over. We're dead meat. Previously, when the alliance of assassinating Ming killed a few mortals, Zhou Ming was enraged and annihilated the island, killing 1 million cultivators and 20 divine transformation realm cultivators. This time, I will definitely die a horrible death after leading my men to kill Zhou Ming's descendant. Each of the bandits revealed a look of despair. It was obvious that Ning Fan had left a bad name in the Endless Sea after destroying the Ying Island. Ning Fan glanced at the group of cultivators. He was not interested in them at all. What kind of force was the Luoyang sect? He did not know them at all. Neither did he have the intention to annihilate the entire island. Perhaps the current Ning Fan would incite fear in every island in the Endless Sea no matter which island he goes to. Since the Ying Island was destroyed by Ning Fan alone, there were really not many islands in the Endless Sea that could stop him. Get lost. I don't want to see anyone within 100,000 li of this island. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve. A violent gust of wind rose and turned into countless purple smoke, rolling towards the thousands of bandits. In an instant, he threw them 10,000 li away with his teleportation technique. Hiss, the bandits gasped. They immediately realized that Ning Fan had thrown them 10,000 li away with just a flick of his sleeve. It was said that the teleportation technique of a divine transformation realm old monster could teleport objects away. Moreover, they could also use the teleportation technique to send a message using a flying sword, allowing the flying sword to travel at an unimaginable speed. However, the group of cultivators had never heard of any divine transformation realm old monster who could cultivate the teleportation technique to Ning Fan's level. He could teleport thousands of cultivators with just a flick of his sleeve. What kind of heaven-defying technique was that? Each of the bandits fell into a state of shock. A moment later, their thoughts were interrupted by the roar of the leader of the nascent soul realm cultivators. You bunch of bastards! Why aren't you getting lost with me? Revered Ming has said that we have to go 90,000 li away from here. The leader of the nascent soul realm cultivators felt extremely lucky. It was really unexpected that he could survive Ning Fan's attack. At this moment, he treated Ning Fan's words as if he was obeying an imperial edict. He did not dare to disobey Ning Fan at all. Thus, he led the group of bandits and fled further and further away. Ning Fan's spirit sense swept across the empty Molan Island. He smiled faintly. It seems like the impact of destroying the Ying Island is not bad. Now that his name had spread across the Endless Sea, no one would dare to disturb the people close to him anymore. He touched his glabella and took out the star positioning plate. He bent his finger and sighed. All of a sudden, a starlight formation diagram spread across 10,000 li, protecting the Molan Island within it. With a shake of his cauldron ring, the female corpse, Yu Lingkong, Nailan Zi, Bing Ling, Yu Ling, Feng Nu, and the 1,000+ female guards of the Ning family were summoned. Light, the female corpse was holding the drawing rope with her bare hands. She was foolishly playing with Mu Xiaohuan. The female guards of the Ning family seemed to be training. Naylan Zi's complexion had already recovered. After being tamed by Ning Fan, the arrogance on her face turned into respect and obedience, changing from one extreme to another. Yu Lingkong was bathing. When she was suddenly summoned by Ning Fan, her body was completely exposed. Without anything to cover her body, her naked body was completely exposed in front of Ning Fan's eyes. Little cucumber. I'm bathing. Why did you summon me? Are you trying to take advantage of me? Yes. Ning Fan smiled inexplicably. He really wanted to take advantage of all the women. I've reached a bottleneck in my dual cultivation technique. I need to dual cultivate with a large number of human cauldrons in order to break through. The reason why I summoned all of you this time is to dual cultivate with all of you. I hope that you will cooperate with me. As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, Yu Lingkong's face turned red and she refuted. You've reached a bottleneck in your cultivation technique. Why do you need us to cooperate with you? Do you think we will agree to your request? As soon as Yu Lingkong's voice fell, the faces of the 1,000+ beautiful women behind her turned red. All of them lowered their bodies respectfully. Under the lead of Bing Ling, Yu Ling, Feng Ling, and Cha Ling, the women began to take off their clothes in a well-trained manner. In just a short period of time, the 1,000+ beautiful women were all naked. Some of them were bold enough to make eyes at Ning Fan while some of them closed their eyes shyly. No matter what their expressions were, none of these women rejected Ning Fan's dual cultivation. Yu Lingkong was stunned. She totally did not expect that Ning Fan could make more than 1,000 women take off their clothes obediently with just a single sentence. She knew that all of them were Ning Fan's human cauldrons. However, most of them were still virgins. Why were they so obedient to Ning Fan? Did they not reject him at all? Ning Fan was also quite surprised. Even though he wanted to dual cultivate with these women, he did not ask them to take off their clothes on the spot. More than 1,000 women took off their clothes so neatly. They were really well trained. Master. We, the female guards of the Ning family, are willing to offer ourselves to you at all times to please you. Bing Ling and Yu Ling smiled complacently. Taming more than 1,000 women was naturally the work of the two of them. Most of these women were the human cauldrons that Ning Fan bought. They were originally docile. A small number of them were Ning Fan's enemies. However, all of them were subdued by Ning Fan. After a long period of time, they had long been brainwashed by the two ladies. Now, they could not be more obedient. Not only did Bing Ling and Yu Ling train the female guards in undressing and sleeping techniques, they also trained them to fight in battle formations. They wholeheartedly wanted to share the danger for Ning Fan. They were ready to rush into the battlefield at any time and block the blades and shadows for him. Thank you. Ning Fan walked closer to the two ladies and patted their heads. Looking at the 1,000+ naked ladies, all sorts of emotions welled up in his heart. In the next few months, I will dual cultivate with all of you. Come at me one by one. There's no need to come at me all at once. He was not a good person, so he bought the cauldron to have dual cultivation with it. However, after being influenced by Su Qiuling, he began to care about his cauldron. This was the first time for many of the female cauldron furnaces. If they did it like animals mating, it would leave a shadow in their hearts. The only thing he could do was to let the women go into battle one by one, at least to leave them with a beautiful memory. Little cucumber, you're a sex fiend. How shameless can you be to have sex with 1,000 women? Yu Lingkong scolded him fiercely, but inwardly, she was a little uncertain. She did not know if Ning Fan would also dual cultivate with her to comprehend some bottleneck of his cultivation method. Her body was that of a little girl. She had yet to develop at all. Doing that was just too painful. Her first time almost killed her from the pain. She had a shadow in her heart. Are you afraid? Ning Fan asked. I. Yu Lingkong was a little timid. She was really a little afraid. However, when she saw Ning Fan's teasing eyes, her dignity as a female tyrant told her not to be frightened by him. I'm not afraid. Even if I'm stabbed to death by you, little cucumber, I'm not afraid. Yu Lingkong looked like she was ready to face death. Silly girl. If you're unwilling, I won't force you. You, Wei-Yang and little maid should stay on the island to get some fresh air. Don't run around. It was Ning Fan's first time being so gentle to her. His bright smile was exactly the same as the expression of the 7-apricot city in the past. Yu Lingkong's heart shuddered. She had already gotten used to Ning Fan's abuse. This was her first time being treated gently by Ning Fan. She actually felt somewhat at a loss. A human cauldron was a human cauldron while his wife and concubine were his wife and concubine. Perhaps, after going through life and death together in Shanghai, Ning Fan had long regarded her as his wife and concubine. Little cucumber, thank you. In that case, I won't dual cultivate with you anymore. Yu Lingkong did not try to put on a brave front. She decisively accepted Ning Fan's kind intention and refused to dual cultivate with him. She had no choice. The hole below her was too small. If Ning Fan was in pain, she would also be in pain. Why did she have to do that? However, as soon as she said those words, Yu Lingkong suddenly felt a little disappointed. For the first time in her life, she hated the fact that she was a girl. Help me take care of Wei-Yang and my servant girl. Ning Fan patted Yu Lingkong's beautiful hair. After letting the female guards of the Ning family wear their clothes, they entered the Devil City. However, his eyes were resolute. He did not explain to the girls that the reason he was plucking Luo Yu in such a licentious manner was so that he could break through the third layer of his cultivation technique as soon as possible and save Luo Yu. There was no need to explain. There was no need to explain. He wanted these women's chastity. Since they had committed a crime, he didn't want to use excuses to evade. Using excuses to evade them would be an insult to these girls who had pledged their loyalty to Ning Fan. Ning Fan would rather keep it a secret from them and tell them that he was coveting their beauty and that they were in love with each other. That was why he was dual cultivating with them. For the next few months, the seductive moans of women could be heard from time to time in the Devil City of Mo Lan Island. Ning Fan's yin-yang transformation was slowly breaking through as he plucked them repeatedly. In the sky above Mo Lan Island, a gigantic totem of a yin-yang fish illuminated the vast sky like a door that was waiting to be opened. As long as this door is opened, his yin-yang transformation would achieve a breakthrough. Time passed day after day. When the cultivators who entered Mo Lan Island by mistake saw the extremely terrifying starlight grand formation guarding this place and Ning Fan's warning in the formation light, they immediately left in shock. Under the concealment of the formation light, no one could spy on the erotic things happening on Mo Lan Island. However, many cultivators could vaguely hear the seductive moans of women on the island and there were more than one of them. It can't be wrong. The expert on Mo Lan Island is Venerated Ming. That's right. It's definitely Venerated Ming. Besides, judging from those women's moans, Venerated Ming is dual cultivating with them. Moreover, there are quite a number of them. I'm afraid there are hundreds or even thousands of them. What? Venerated Ming is dual cultivating with so many women? Could it be that he is cultivating a dual cultivation technique? Yes. It's a dual cultivation technique. Besides, I've even seen that kind of cultivation technique in some ancient books. In the sky above Mo Lan Island, there was a strange phenomenon of yin-yang fish. If I'm not mistaken, Venerated Ming is cultivating the yin-yang devil technique. What? It's actually that kind of extremely shameless fiend god cultivation technique? No. That's not what I meant. No matter how shameless a cultivation technique is, it won't be shameless if Venerated Ming is cultivating it. None of the cultivators dared to offend Ning Fan or speak ill of him. However, the news of Ning Fan cultivating the yin-yang devil technique still spread. To low-level cultivators, fiend god cultivation techniques were very rare. To divine transformation realm cultivators, however, fiend god cultivation techniques could only be regarded as high-end cultivation techniques. Many divine transformation realm cultivators had already cultivated them. However, even if they cultivate the same type of fiend god cultivation technique, the effects would be greatly different without the orthodox inheritance. What Ning Fan needed to conceal was not the fact that he cultivated the yin-yang devil veins but the fact that he possessed the yin-yang locket. That was enough. There might be many people who cultivated the yin-yang transformation in this world. However, without the yin-yang locket, their bewitching technique would never be as profound as Ning Fan's. On Gusu Island, Su Qiling received a message from a flying sword. After reading the content of the message, she remained indifferent and silent. The content of the message was sent by Su Russian of the Pleasure Devil Island. He told Su Qiling that Ning Fan cultivated the bewitching technique, hoping that she would understand Ning Fan and not be angry. Su Qiling already knew about this a long time ago. Even though Ning Fan had dual cultivated with so many women, she still loved him. She understood Ning Fan. She knew that he had no other choice and there was no way out. Big brother, you still like to show off, Su Qiling dismissed it with a smile. She knew that Ning Fan naturally had his own reasons for having sex with thousands of women every day. The third level of the yin-yang transformation, huh? I heard that even though the yin-yang transformation is a shameless cultivation technique, it is also very difficult to cultivate. Only some void fragmentation realm devil lords who are rumored to be able to cultivate this cultivation technique to the third level. If Big Brother can cultivate this cultivation technique to the third level when he is still at the divine transformation realm, he can be considered to have an extraordinary aptitude. As expected of Big Brother, he can always do things that ordinary people can't. With such a gentle temperament, it would be a pity if she doesn't become the empress of the world. Father, you don't have to worry about me. Why would I blame Big Brother? Because I understand him. In the evening breeze, Su Qiling gazed at the edge of the world and stroked the hair on her temples. Her eyes were filled with longing. No matter what kind of scolding Ning Fan would have to bear, she would accompany him to the end of his journey. She would never let him be lonely again. Chapter 366. For a few months, Ning Fan had intercourse with 1,000 women. He had almost cultivated the second level of his cultivation method to its peak. Over 1,000 women had already lost their chastity after having intercourse with him. After serving Ning Fan, each of them began to cultivate on the Mo Lan Island and practice formations on their own. In the bedroom, Ning Fan closed his eyes without saying a word. Around him, there were Bing Ling, Yu Ling, the Wind Ladies and the Tea Ladies who were eating naked. Below him, Nailan Zi was blinded. She carefully held Ning Fan's fiery body with her fragrant lips and served Ning Fan using the unique technique of the Purple Cuckoo clan. Under the service of these women, it was enough to make any man go crazy. However, Ning Fan's heart was as hard as stone. He was not moved at all. The higher his cultivation method was, the calmer he would be when facing women and the less likely he would be bewitched by the bewitching technique. In a sense, it was not without reason that Ning Fan's mental state was strong. Walking among the flowers all day and all night while restraining himself from acting like a beast or bullying a human cauldron was already a great mental state test for a man. Master, you haven't broken through yet. Bing Ling hugged Ning Fan's waist and rubbed her soft breasts on Ning Fan's body desperately. The other women also got closer and seduced Ning Fan to help him achieve a breakthrough in his cultivation method. Nailan Zi was working hard. Her soft lips skillfully licked Ning Fan's fiery body. For her younger sister, she gave her body and soul to Ning Fan. She did not know if Ning Fan would lie to her. Thus, she could only work harder to please Ning Fan and make him happy so that he would keep his promise for her. Nailan Zi's tongue was a little numb. She had been licking Ning Fan for 4 hours. However, Ning Fan refused to let go. It was enough to show how strong his temperament was. "Master, can I use my hands? My mouth is a little numb. I want to rest for a while." Nalan Zi asked carefully. She did not have the domineering attitude of concubine Zi in the past. "No need. All of you should take a rest. It's been hard on you." Ning Fan patted Nalan Zi's head and nodded to the other women, signaling them to rest for a while. Bing Ling and the other women nodded and retreated. However, their eyes were inevitably filled with disappointment. It was a feeling of failure that they could not help Ning Fan. Nalan Zi bit her lips and retreated as well. She blamed herself for not being able to please Ning Fan. Of course, she blamed herself for her younger sister. After the ladies left, Ning Fan was the only one left in the room. After inspecting his immortal veins, he frowned. "Why haven't you broken through?" The yin-yang transformation mentioned that when you break through to the third layer, the heavens will reveal the yin-yang fish gate. It has been several months since this door appeared, but I still have not made a breakthrough in my cultivation technique. Could it be that something is missing? Ning Fan seemed to have understood something. He put on his clothes and went out of the room. The moon outside the door was as cold as water. Looking up at the sky, outside the array light, in the dim light of the night, a totem of yin and yang fishes intersecting appeared in the sky. The black and white fishes of yin and yang seemed to contain all the truths of the world. If there is good, there will be evil. If there is good, there will be bad. If there is male, there will be female. If there is yin, there will be yang. If there is life, there will be death. If there is black, there will be white. The enlightenment in Ning Fan's heart grew stronger. When this enlightenment rose, he could faintly feel that his yin-yang transformation was showing signs of breaking through. However, it was still not enough, causing his cultivation method to be unable to break through completely. "I have done enough dual cultivation with women. If I still can't break through, the problem is not with dual cultivation. I'm afraid that my understanding of the two words yin and yang is not enough." Yin and yang. What is yin and yang? The yin-yang transformation cultivation method that the ancient Chaos Great Emperor passed down clearly covers the great Tao of the world. Why did he use the most intimate part of a man and a woman to describe it? The principles of the yin-yang transformation are too profound. However, just because it is a dual cultivation method, isn't it too arbitrary to classify it as trash? Why was little Yu Er so persistent in cultivating the yin-yang transformation in the past? If she cultivates this technique, isn't she going to pluck men or women? The ancient Chaos Great Emperor used to be the disciple of immortal Emperor Zi Do and extracted the Tao of yin and yang from his great Tao of samsara. This cultivation method might have been famous in the ancient times. However, in the future, it became a method of perverts. Perverts. Suddenly, Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He seemed to have grasped a key point. Was male and female dual cultivation really shameless? If there is no dual cultivation between a man and a woman, how can everyone in the world be born? What is wrong is not dual cultivation but the utilization of the yin-yang transformation. According to rumors, during the ancient times, there was a yellow emperor who had sex with 3,000 women in a day and ascended to the heavens. If the yin-yang transformation falls into the hands of ancient chaos, he would certainly be the kind of dissolute great emperor who enjoys pleasure but is not lascivious. However, if this cultivation method falls into the hands of a perverted man, it would undoubtedly become a shameless method of plucking women. The one who is wrong is never the cultivation method but the person who uses it. Ning Fan suddenly understood something. The scenes of the past flashed in his mind like a flashing lantern. With the yin-yang transformation cultivation method, he had subdued countless women. With the magical effect of the mind-reading technique, he had peeped into the secrets of many women. All of these were shameless in the eyes of the world. Ning Fan would only be regarded as a perverted man. However, it is human nature to be lecherous. What is wrong with that? Perhaps, destroying one's nature and heart and being emotionless is the right path. What is right and what is wrong? Ning Fan's mind gradually became chaotic. He could not see through it. Existence and destruction of nature. Being emotionless and emotionless were two completely different great Taoists in the world. The Tao comprehension involved was too profound. Ning Fan could not understand it at all. Struggle. In his heart, he was struggling once again. It was like an inner devil knocking on Ning Fan's heart, mocking him and despising him. That inner devil kept saying that Ning Fan's Tao was wrong. When the inner devil was wreaking havoc in his mind, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. He struck his chest with his palm, causing blood to spurt out from his mouth. He forcefully shattered the inner devil with a single palm strike. He was Ning Fan. How could he be looked down upon by the inner devil? He had an unparalleled arrogance. Gradually, he calmed down. I have a clear conscience. Killing people is wrong. However, what is wrong with killing enemies to protect the country? Saving people is right. However, if the person I'm saving is the wolf of Dongua, how is it right? Raping women is wrong. However, I, Ning Fan, ask myself if the women I pluck are not human cauldrons or enemies. I don't dare to say that I'm not wrong, but I have a clear conscience. Obeying the heavens' will is the right thing to do. However, if the end of the heavens' will is for me to die and my loved ones to be humiliated and killed, I will never submit to the heavens' will. I understand now. Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the sky. He finally understood how profound the yin-yang fishes that could be seen everywhere in the cultivation world actually were. Yin and yang had nothing to do with right or wrong. The heavenly Tao was heartless. Because it was heartless, it could treat everyone equally. Ning Fan's eyes were blank for a moment and deep for a moment. Sometimes, he wore white robes and other times, his black hair grew longer. Black qi rose from his body and he turned into a man in black robes. Black was Ning Fan and white was also Ning Fan. What was wrong was yin and yang. What was right was also yin and yang. The heavenly Tao had clear and turbid. However, there was no difference between clear and turbid. If there is no clear, there will be no turbid. If there is no yin, there will be no yang. I'm still a little short. Plucking women has already met the requirements. My own comprehension is almost enough as well. However, I still need to understand yin and yang from the hearts of others. I am Ning Fan, a devil cultivator. I can only look at these two words from the perspective of a devil cultivator. If that's the case, I will lose the true meaning of yin and yang and it will be too one-sided. I need the comprehension from the people of the righteous Tao. Ning Fan let out a hearty laugh. His voice shook the entire Emolan island, disturbing the erotic dreams of countless women. Wait for me here. I will return within 7 days. He took a step forward and turned into a wisp of smoke, drifting out of the Emolan island. Along the way to the west, Ning Fan passed by the profound micro-sect of the Western Endless Sea. It was a low-key righteous sect. There were only a few hundred cultivators in the sect and the strongest among them was just a gold core realm old man. In the Endless Sea, the righteous sects were different species. They were people who were at the mercy of others. Despite not having great strength, this profound micro-sect was able to persist on the righteous path and survive. This sect must have its own way of survival. In the profound micro-sect, other than a few disciples who were patrolling at night, most of the disciples were already in seclusion or asleep. The night was as cold as water. In the study room, the old ancestor of the profound micro-sect was holding a scripture in his hand. His body was full of righteous qi. The scripture that he was reading was a scripture of the devil Tao. Ning Fan seemed to have understood something. The old ancestor of the righteous Tao was studying the devil Tao. Was this the reason why the profound micro-sect survived in the cultivation tomb? A gust of wind blew into the study room, revealing Ning Fan's figure. The gentle breeze made the candlelight flicker. Qing Feng, Mingyu, didn't I tell you that I don't like to be disturbed when I'm reading the scripture at night? The old man raised his head in displeasure. At the next moment, he saw an unfamiliar cultivator entering the study room. He could not help but feel shocked. "Who are you?" Swooshed, the old man suddenly rose to his feet. His face showed no signs of fear. Even though his cultivation base was weak, he had his own righteous Tao. This righteous Tao would not perish even if he were to read the devil scripture. Under the dim candlelight, the old man gradually saw Ning Fan's appearance. As soon as he saw Ning Fan's face clearly, it was as if a bucket of cold water was poured on his head, making him break out in cold sweat. Revered Ming. He was stunned by Ning Fan's aura. All of this was because Ning Fan's reputation was too terrifying. After his fearsome reputation spread, countless forces competed to buy jade slips that had Ning Fan's appearance imprinted on them. They did not want to offend Ning Fan when they meet him in the future, which would lead to the destruction of their sects. "I will ask and you will answer." Ning Fan's tone left no room for refusal. The old man broke out in cold sweat and did not dare to refute him. "Yes, what's your name?" "My name is Jing Tong. I am the old ancestor of the profound micro sect." "Are you a cultivator of the righteous Tao?" "Yes, you are a cultivator of the righteous Tao while I am a devil cultivator." "Why are you afraid of me?" "Isn't it the duty of the righteous Tao to slay devils?" "How would I dare to do that?" In this world, the two words righteous and devil are only separated by a single thought. The cultivation methods are different, but there is only one path that leads to the great Tao. Instead of being obsessed with the two words righteous and devil, why don't I restrain myself and cultivate diligently and diligently? There are countless devil Tao in this world, but there are also countless righteous Tao. My righteous Tao is to impart knowledge and protect the lives of the disciples of my sect. If I can protect the safety of my disciples, even if I become a devil, I will still be righteous in my heart. The old man's cultivation base was just at the early gold core realm. However, when he spoke, his Tao heart was firm. Obviously, he often served the devil's sect for the sake of the sect's safety, and he did not feel ashamed. The righteous Tao that the old man pursued was not for a clean reputation but to protect the safety of his disciples. If there is no righteousness to protect, there is no way for one to claim to be righteous. The righteousness of the old man represented everyone in the profound micro sect. Well said. It turns out that in your heart, yin and yang are only separated by a single thought. If you stick to your original heart, even if you become yin, you can still claim to be yang. Ning Fan pondered for a while. He flicked his sleeve and left a few bottles of pills. At the next moment, he turned into a breeze and disappeared in front of the old man. What a mysterious speed. This is the burning flame pill. The old man's expression changed drastically. This burning flame pill was a kind of precious high-grade third revolution pill in the endless sea. It was used to increase the magic power of a gold core realm cultivator. If there are enough pills, one could even break through to the mid-gold core realm from the early gold core realm in one go. If he has these pills, the day he breaks through to the mid-gold core realm would be just around the corner. The stronger he is, the better he would be able to protect his disciples. He was a good master. This kind of kindness had nothing to do with good or evil, the righteous or the devil path. The old man could not calm himself down for a long time. He looked at the direction where Ning Fan left with a grateful expression. He vaguely guessed that Ning Fan asked him questions in order to break through the shackles of calmness and try to comprehend something by analogy. It was just like how the old man studied the devil scripture in order to improve his cultivation base on the righteous path. From the time Ning Fan appeared until he left, it was just the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. He did not disturb the profound micro sect at all, and he did not even kill a single person. In the old man's eyes, Ning Fan was not as bloodthirsty as the rumors said. Instead, he was a man with principles and a clear distinction between gratitude and grudges. So this is the true venerated Ming. What a free and unrestrained demeanor of a devil cultivator. The respect in the old man's eyes grew stronger. As he flew out of the profound microsect, Ning Fan pondered over the old man's words and seemed to have understood something. He flew all the way to the west. His spirit sense swept across 50,000 li, but he did not stop at all. After another day, the sky was already bright. Only then did he stop at the western border of the Endless Sea. This place was almost out of the territory of the Endless Sea. At the border of the Western Sea, there was a mortal country. It was very small and it could not fit into the 800 cultivation countries at all. Ning Fan stopped and saw a decaying county government office on top of a mortal city. The county magistrate was trying to curry favor with another official by offering a plate of gold and silver to him. It seemed that the river in the county had burst its banks and there were countless victims. In order to obtain relief money, the county magistrate was bribing another person. That county magistrate showed a flattering expression. When the other official left, his face suddenly turned serious. One day, I will wipe out all the sycophants in the world. This sense of righteousness came from the bottom of his heart. It was definitely not an act. Interesting. Ning Fan landed in the county government office. He was slightly interested in this upright and outspoken county magistrate who bribed his superior. Ning Fan turned into a gust of wind and landed in the county government office. When the county magistrate saw Ning Fan descending from the sky, he thought that he was an expert of the Jianghu. He was secretly shocked and immediately called out to a dozen runners. Each of these runners had the back of a tiger and the waist of a bear while Ning Fan looked weak. However, when Ning Fan flicked his sleeves, all of them fainted. Demon, demon. The county magistrate was afraid. As the saying goes, a man does not speak of supernatural powers. However, the county magistrate could clearly see that Ning Fan was not an ordinary person. I will ask and you will answer. Ning Fan still did not allow him to refuse. Yes, why are you afraid of me? Because you know demonic arts. The county magistrate was a little scared. Why are you an official? To wipe out the mediocre officials and help the common people. When talking about ideals, the county magistrate suddenly became serious. You want to wipe out the mediocre officials, but why did you corrupt yourself and willingly bribe your superior? A clean reputation is not worth mentioning. May I ask, Immortal Master, if I only want a clean reputation and can't raise funds for the disaster relief, what good will it do to the people of the county? If I don't corrupt myself, I won't be able to protect the lives of the people. I am a capable official, not an honest one. If I don't cater to the common people, I won't be able to solve any troubles for the emperor. Bo Yi and Shu Qi are noble and pure, but they are not beneficial to the common people. What is the use of being noble and pure? Chen Ping stole his sister-in-law and bullied the rich, but he shared his master's worries. Shao He corrupted himself to gain his master's trust. I am willing to be like Qin Shao and use my ability to help the common people of the world. Today's turbidity is for the sake of purity in the future. I see. In your heart, yin and yang complement each other. Today's turbidity can be exchanged for purity in the future. Ning Fan took a step forward and walked out of the county magistrate's office. Suddenly, he stomped on the ground, causing the entire county to tremble. The river that had burst its banks was like a water dragon that soared to the sky and returned to the river channel. The banks were rebuilt. Of course, this was the reward Ning Fan gave to the county magistrate for answering his questions. This was a good official. Even though he had violated the law and bribed people, he still cared about the common people. The tremors made the county magistrate's mouth agape and terrified. He thought that Ning Fan was a deity that could crush the entire county with a single stomp. Not long after, a lowly official sent a message saying that the river had been repaired and the river had returned to the river channel. Even the epidemic did not appear after the flood. Every single one of the victims was hale and hearty. The county magistrate was stunned. It was impossible for the river that had burst its banks to return to the river channel. It was impossible for the victims of the epidemic to cure themselves. All of these were undoubtedly the doing of the Immortal Master. The county magistrate realized that he had solved the Immortal Master's doubts. The act of saving the victims was a reward for the county magistrate. On behalf of the people of the county, I thank the immortal master. Tears and snot flowed down the county magistrate's face as he bowed in the direction where Ning Fan left. After leaving the country of mortals, Ning Fan understood more and more things. Every time he passed by a place, he would spread out his spirit sense and ask the cultivators and mortals about it. Yin and Yang encompassed all the great Taos. Everyone's actions could be explained by Yin and Yang. Ning Fan understood more and more things. Eventually, he stopped at the bank of a river. A child was reciting a scripture by the river. It was taught by a private school. When the sun is clear, it's Yang. When the moon is waning, it's Yin. The meaning of this scripture was very simple. The sun is Yang and the moon is Yin. Ning Fan was confused. Could it be that the great Tao of Yin and Yang that he was pursuing was just the principle of the alternation of the sun and moon? 7 days later, Ning Fan returned to Mo Lan Island and sat cross-legged on his bed. His brows gradually relaxed. It's not enough to be obsessed with the evil Tao. It's also wrong to be obsessed with the righteous Tao. The myriad of laws in the world must be balanced by Yin and Yang, good and evil coexisting. What is pure and turbid? The pure is naturally pure and the turbid is naturally turbid. What is good and evil? Good is good and evil is evil. What is Yin and Yang? Going against is Yin and taking it straight is Yang. I understand all of these. But because I understand them, I'm a little confused. The scripture that the child recited kept echoing in Ning Fan's mind. Along the way, Ning Fan's understanding of Yin and Yang changed from being at a loss. Then, he seemed to have gained some enlightenment. Then, he completely understood it. At this moment, he felt like he knew nothing about it. He was obsessed with the simplicity of the great Tao. Wise people compared Yin and Yang to the sun and the moon. However, he compared Yin and Yang to pure and turbid, good and evil. Trying to make an analogy and speculate was like neglecting the essentials. Everything returns to its original point. Why is the Yin-Yang transformation a dual cultivation technique? It's because great Emperor Ancient Chaos believed that men are Yang and women are Yin. The copulation between a man and a woman is the most suitable way of alternating the great Tao of Yin and Yang. Two completely different people combined and gave birth to life. The so-called Yin and Yang can be explained by analogy. It's the power that is formed when two diametrically opposite forces fuse and merge. Ning Fan felt like he was looking back on his life. A mountain was a mountain was not a mountain, and a mountain was still a mountain. The great Tao is the simplest. Heaven is my wife, earth is my concubine, all living things are my cauldron, the great Tao of Yin and Yang, dual cultivation. Ancient Chaos Immortal Emperor's words are to compare everything in the world to Yin, to be plucked and devoured, to temper oneself into Yang, and by plucking Yin to nourish Yang, the grand Tao will be accomplished. I'm not just plucking women, I'm plucking everything in the great Tao of the heavens. This is a plunder cultivation technique that seeks to seize the Tao from the heavens and the earth. Treat heaven and earth as a woman and pluck them clean. This was the first time he had seen through the essence of the yin-yang transformation. How was this plucking all the women in the world? It was clearly plucking the heavenly Tao and reincarnation. One could imagine just how arrogant immortal Emperor Ancient Chaos was to dare to compete against the heavens for the Tao. Ning Fan walked out of the room and looked at the sky with a smile. His left eye flickered with a strange pure white, while his left eye turned into a strange pure black. The pupil and the white were indistinguishable. Under this gaze, the giant gate of the yin and yang fish in the sky exploded open. Amidst a burst of light, Ning Fan took a step forward and disappeared from his original spot. Then, he appeared in a place that was shrouded in haze. No, the air here was not hazy. It was filled with dense yin qi of heaven and earth. As soon as he entered this place, Ning Fan discovered that the magical power in his yin-yang devil veins suddenly surged and its circulation speed was more than 100 times faster than usual. The yin qi here can actually increase my cultivation speed by 100 times. Ning Fan was shocked. The seventh floor of the Lost World Palace could reverse the flow of time by 100 times, but the heaven and earth here could increase the circulation speed of the yin-yang transformation cultivator's magical power by 100 times. What did this mean? The yin-yang devil veins cultivation speed was 100 times faster than the outside world. The yin-yang devil veins cultivation speed was also 100 times faster than the outside world. Everything that was related to the circulation of magical power in this place was 100 times more efficient than the outside world. There was 1,000 zhang tall fire steel between the heaven and earth. On the steel, there were 7 suns and 7 waning moons. One of the 7 waning moons had been dyed purple by a purple spiritual qi. Within that purple qi, there was a trace of qi that Ning Fan was extremely familiar with, Bei Yao. The purple on the steel is Bei Yao. Ning Fan suddenly remembered a dream that happened a long time ago. It was a dream that he had not long after he obtained the yin-yang locket. In the dream, there was a hazy world and a fire steel. He remembered that there was a woman standing under the steel. This is the spatial space of the yin-yang locket. Profound Yin World. This is a medium-class world, a place where only immortal emperors are qualified to cultivate. My yin-yang devil veins cultivation speed here is 100 times faster than the outside world. Ning Fan muttered to himself. As if responding to his words, a numb and old-fashioned voice reverberated in the profound Yin world. It seemed to be the words left behind by the creator of the yin-yang locket. Profound Yin world treasure, yin-yang locket. Heaven is my wife, earth is my concubine, and all living beings are my cauldrons. The great Tao of yin and yang, dual cultivation. You are the first inheritor of yin-yang after my Tao annihilation. I am ancient chaos. You are fated to be the lord of this profound yin world. You will be in charge of this world, ancient chaos, and yin-yang. Once I worship the immortal emperor, I will become immortal. Boom! Like a sound of annihilation, the entire profound yin world began to tremble. The voice that was sealed in this place had finally waited for the arrival of the next master of the profound yin world. At this moment, Ning Fan's heart felt like it was cut by a knife. He felt a sudden pain and spat out a mouthful of blood in the profound yin world. The blood that he spat out melted into the world and slowly disappeared. At the next moment, Ning Fan suddenly had a feeling. Something had branded the rune of the yin-yang fish on his heart. With the help of the talisman, he could enter the profound yin world anytime and anywhere with just a thought. Even with Ning Fan's temperament, he could not help but feel excited. After breaking through to the 3rd level of the yin-yang transformation, he had become the lord of the profound yin world. With the profound yin world, there were too many things that he could do. By the way, where is little Yuer? Ning Fan looked around. In this empty world, there was a thatched cottage floating in the sky. It was getting closer and closer to him from afar. In the thatched cottage, there was a lady in snow-white clothes. Her face was pale and she was sleeping on the bed in pain. Her body was illusory as if it was about to disappear. She was hugging both of her knees. Her pure and beautiful face looked spotless, like a white lotus that had just emerged from the water. Her body was a little petite. When she put her embroidered shoes under her feet, her smooth feet shrunk slightly as if they were afraid of the cold. She seemed to be very timid. She was hugging her shoulders, looking very pitiful. It was unknown if she was dreaming about something. Her heart ached and tears rolled down her cheeks. I'm afraid of the dark. I'm afraid, little Yuer. She is Luoyu. Ning Fan had never expected that Luoyu, who had always called herself an elder sister and was rather candid, would actually have a petite and weak appearance. She was actually afraid of the dark and would make others feel pity for her. Ning Fan's heart softened uncontrollably. He used his hand to wipe away the tears at the corner of her eyes and gently carried her up from the bed. Her body is so light. Is this the description of a woman like her? Ning Fan sighed inwardly. If it wasn't for the fact that a woman like her had been imprisoned in the profound yin world for too long, she would certainly not speak to me in such a seductive tone. It turns out that Luo Yu's passion towards me has always been a disguise. This woman is not a charming woman. Perhaps her seductive charm was just to charm Ning Fan. She was afraid that Ning Fan would abandon her and leave her in the profound Yin world. In her deep sleep, Luo Yu's illusory primordial spirit seemed to have sensed that someone was carrying her. She wanted to wake up but she did not dare to. Once she wakes up, her illusory primordial spirit would completely collapse and she would die. She did not dare to look at who was carrying her. She did not dare to open her eyes. She did not dare to leave the dreamland. She was afraid of death. Don't be afraid. I'm Ning Fan. I'll bring you out and help you nourish your primordial spirit. Ning Fan hugged Luo Yu tightly, afraid that he would hurt her. The name of the god of water was Luo Shen. This woman must have been lonely and arrogant in the past. What made her so sad? What made her abandon the Luo water immortal position and all her arrogance and choose to cultivate the despicable and shameless yin-yang transformation? Ning Fan suddenly felt lucky that this woman did not succeed in obtaining the yin-yang locket. If she succeeds in obtaining the inheritance of ancient chaos, she would certainly walk on the same path as Ning Fan, plucking men and polluting her own body. She had once tried to unlock the inheritance of the yin-yang locket but she failed. This failure had caused her to be lonely for too long. She had been imprisoned for too long but now, she met Ning Fan. Ning Fan had polluted himself and turned into a devil. However, Luo Yu managed to keep her chastity and remained untainted. Don't be afraid. I'm Ning Fan. Ning Fan repeated his words. His words seemed to have entered Luo Yu's dreamland, causing her trembling body to slightly calm down. In the dreamland, she was cowering in the corner of the wall in fear, hugging her calves as she trembled. It's Ning Fan. Has he opened the profound Yin world? Will he save me? Or will he take advantage of my illusory primordial spirit to pollute me? Or will he kill me? He said not to be afraid. Luo Yu gradually calmed down. She had been betrayed by so many people in the past. Could she choose to believe Ning Fan? Can I leave my sleeping body to Ning Fan's protection without any worries? Chapter 367. The profound Yin world had a heaven-defying cultivation effect for the yin-yang demon vein. However, Ning Fan could faintly feel that there were still some drawbacks to the hundredfold cultivation speed. Ning Fan did not have the time to carefully investigate the drawbacks of the profound Yin world. He carried Luo Yu in his arms with a cautious expression. With a sway of his body, he flew out of the profound Yin world and returned to his bedroom. Then, he placed Luo Yu on the bed. When his gaze fell upon her delicate body, he felt pity for her once again. The sleeping woman in snow-white clothes had a weak and painful expression on her face. Her primordial spirit body was illusory. She had been trapped in the profound Yin world for countless years, and almost all of her cultivation had been absorbed by it. After helping Ning Fan out of danger time and time again, she had also continuously consumed the power of her primordial spirit. In the past, Ning Fan often thought that Luo Yu was just too lazy and sleepy. From the looks of it now, she wasn't lazy at all. She was clearly sleeping to prevent her primordial spirit from being destroyed. In the past, she could still wake up once in a while. Currently, her primordial spirit had almost completely dissipated. Unless her primordial spirit was repaired, she would definitely not be able to awaken. You've saved me so many times. I will definitely protect you. Don't worry, I'm here. Ning Fan's hand gently caressed her sleeping face. His words once again made her feel at ease while she was in a deep sleep. Patting his storage pouch, he took out a 3,100-year-old smooth heart grass. With a push of his palm, he ground the grass into a jade-like medicinal liquid. After thinking for a moment, he put it into his mouth. After apologizing, Ning Fan bent down and poured the medicinal liquid into Luo Yu's mouth. When their lips and tongues touched, Luo Yu's delicate body shuddered. While she was unconscious, she let out a soft moan, as if she was somewhat resistant to Ning Fan's kiss. Ning Fan did not want to offend the beauty too much. After pouring the medicinal liquid into her mouth, he immediately separated from her. Sitting on the edge of the bed, he held Luo Yu's hand and gently channeled magic power into it. When he held Luo Yu's cold and delicate hand, Ning Fan suddenly felt as if he had lost his virginity. He felt that Luo Yu had a charm that was not inferior to Yuan Yao's. However, her charm was different from Yuan Yao's. Yuan Yao's aura was purple, while Luo Yu's was snow white. Disperse. Ning Fan's heart shuddered and he dispersed all of his lustful thoughts. After breaking through to the third level of his yin-yang transformation, his willpower had greatly improved. Unless Luo Yu takes the initiative to seduce him with her profound cultivation base, Ning Fan would not fall for it. As the dermic powers entered and the medicinal effects spread, Luo Yu's primordial spirit became slightly more corporeal. However, it was still extremely weak and could not wake up for the time being. Primordial spirit was something that only divine transformation realm cultivators possessed. Even though the spirit herbs that could nourish primordial spirit were not very old, most of them were medicinal ingredients for fifth revolution pills. They were expensive and rare. Ning Fan's only had this smooth heart grass that he obtained by chance and it was only 3,100 years old. Given how weak Luo Yu's primordial spirit was, it was definitely not something that could be healed with just 10 or even 100,000-year-old spiritual herbs. Fortunately, before Ning Fan left Gusu City, he had already given Yulong an order to purchase spiritual herbs that could heal one's primordial spirit in the external endless sea. Perhaps Yulong would give him a satisfactory answer when he returns to Gusu City a few years later. The yin-yang transformation was already the first level of the third level. He had successfully cultivated the first 3 levels. However, he had no clue about the 4th level. After all, the cultivation method that he inherited from the ancient chaos inheritance was only at the void fragmentation realm. The 3rd level of the yin-yang transformation was the void fragmentation realm. Ning Fan looked at Luo Yu. Perhaps after she wakes up, she could give him some pointers about a higher level cultivation method. After all, she also cultivated the yin-yang transformation, didn't she? Since he had achieved a breakthrough in his cultivation method, it was meaningless to stay on the Mo Lan island. After another 3 days, when Luo Yu's primordial spirit had stabilized slightly, Ning Fan carried her back to the profound yin world to sleep. Then, he began to study the vast medium-sized world. This world was indeed a little strange. The cauldron ring of the heavenly abode rank could contain women while the Yuanyao jade of the small kiliacosm could contain heaven and earth. However, the profound yin world, which was a higher grade than the heavenly abode rank and the small kiliacosm, did not allow outsiders to enter. To be more precise, other than those who cultivate the yin-yang devil veins, no one else could enter this world. In the past, Luo Yu had cultivated the yin-yang transformation in order to find the yin-yang locket. Therefore, she could enter this world. Ning Fan's yin-yang transformation realm was extremely high. Few people in the 9 worlds could compare to him. Thus, he naturally could enter this world. Other than Ning Fan and Luo Yu, no one else could enter this world at all. Moreover, even if they could enter this world, they would not be able to cultivate at a speed that was 100 times faster than Ning Fan's. The thatched cottage that Luo Yu lived in was still floating in the empty world. Ning Fan sat cross-legged under the fire steel and circulated his magic power. After cultivating for 3 days in this world, the amount of magic power he obtained was equivalent to 300 days in the outside world. However, 3 days later, the profound yin world suddenly trembled. As it trembled, it actually forced Ning Fan, the lord of this world, out of this world. Ning Fan was inwardly surprised. Previously, he already felt that this profound yin world had some drawbacks. Now, how could he not know where the drawbacks were? The drawback of the profound yin world was that one could not stay inside for a long time. After staying inside for 3 days, Ning Fan was chased out of this world. He repeatedly tried to enter this world but to no avail. He could only re-enter this world after 1 day. However, after 3 days, he was chased out of the profound yin world once again. After thinking about it carefully, Ning Fan immediately understood the key point. He did not know why this profound world could only allow him to stay for 3 days. After 3 days, he would not be able to enter this world again. He would have to wait for another day before he could enter again. Ning Fan had such a restriction, but Luo Yu could stay inside indefinitely. With the restriction of 3 days, one could only cultivate in the profound world for a short period of time. Long-term seclusion was not allowed. Otherwise, if one is chased out of the profound world during a crucial moment of cultivation, it would be extremely easy for one to suffer from qi deviation. Ning Fan now had a preliminary understanding of the cultivation speed and time limit of the profound world. After another day, he entered the profound world again. He no longer cultivated but studied the fire steel. Luo Yu had once told Ning Fan that this fire steel was called the steel of sun and moon. It was also one of the benefits of breaking through to the 3rd level of a cultivation method. After mastering the 1st level of the cultivation method, one could pluck and seize. After mastering the 2nd level of the cultivation method, one could spy on others' secrets. After mastering the 3rd level of the cultivation method, one could become the lord of the profound world. After Ning Fan achieved a breakthrough in his cultivation method, he gained a heaven-defying cultivation speed of a medium-sized world for free. Another benefit was controlling the steel of sun and moon. Luo Yu once said that the steel of sun and moon has 2 great effects. One is to copy and engrave the magic techniques and cultivation methods of the female cultivators who have had physical contact with them. The other is to use it as a magic treasure to kill enemies. Ning Fan stroked the scorching hot fire steel with his palm and closed his eyes, trying to search for some information from the steel. Not long after, information about cultivation methods and magic techniques were transmitted into his sea of consciousness through his palm. All of those cultivation methods and magic techniques belonged to the women who had been plucked by him. Lan Mei's cultivation method of the Sinister Sparrow sect. Bai Lu's bewitching technique. Feng Nu's and Cha Nu's demonic techniques. Nailan Zi and Shi Ran's clan's secret techniques. Yu Lingkong's moon sense secret technique. Even some of Yuan Yao's low-grade cultivation methods were imprinted on the fire steel. All of these complicated information about cultivation methods flowed into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. A few hours later, there were at least 1,000 cultivation methods and secret techniques in his mind. What a mystical steel of sun and moon! Ning Fan was astonished, which was rare for him. The 1st level of the cultivation method was plucking and absorbing. The 2nd level of the cultivation method was spy on others. As for the 3rd level of the cultivation method, it directly took away all the cultivation methods of the women. Ning Fan's mind raced. He realized that all the cultivation methods of the women whom he had taken advantage of were completely imprinted on the fire steel. Yuan Yao, on the other hand, only had her anus broken. The cultivation methods that were imprinted on the steel were just low-grade and incomplete items. It seemed like the effect of having sex in the anus was not as good as having sex in the real world. Otherwise, there would probably be many secret techniques and cultivation methods of the void-renouncing realm imprinted on the steel. Ning Fan thought to himself. If I pluck the cultivation methods of the women in the future, won't I be stealing their cultivation methods as well? If that's the case, when I lack magic techniques in the future, I can just plunder the cultivation methods of others. He had already tried out the 1st benefit of the steel of sun and moon. Next, it was time for him to try out the 2nd benefit. Ning Fan stroked the gigantic steel as if he wanted to engrave every trace of the lines on the fire steel into his heart. He stood under the fire steel for 3 consecutive days. Only when he was chased out of the profound world did he open his eyes. He seemed to have gained some enlightenment. This time, he did not enter the profound world. Instead, he touched the Yuanya world and entered it. Inside this world, there was a beast corpse that was hundreds of thousands of zhang in size. It was the realm beast that he took away when he saved Yuanya the first time. The physical body of this realm beast was severely damaged. Thus, it was not suitable to be refined into a spiritual puppet. However, as a material for refining treasures, every inch of its skin and bones was an excellent material. Even though it was not made from the immemorial star iron and the treasures refined from it did not have the ability to advance in grade, it was still a treasure. However, if he could refine this entire realm beast into a treasure, its power would probably not lose to the blood sword. I wonder if the heavenly demon blood dragon which is used to refine the blood sword is stronger than this true immortal realm beast. Ning Fan touched his glabella and took out the Separation Slayer sword. Without saying a word, he swung the sword at the mountain-like beast corpse. With the sharpness of the Separation Slayer sword and Ning Fan's current magic power, it was nearly invincible among the Divine Transformation Realm cultivators. The power of that single sword strike immediately caused the hollow space to collapse and the earth to tremble. However, after such a vast sword light slashed the beast corpse, it only produced a few sparks. The rebounding force made Ning Fan's hand numb. He only managed to stabilize his body after taking tens of steps back. When he looked at the beast corpse again, Ning Fan's Separation Slayer sword only managed to leave a shallow dent on it. He did not manage to cut off a piece of flesh at all. The defense of this realm beast was really terrifying. Even if it stood still and let Ning Fan slash at it, it was still not something that Ning Fan could kill. Ning Fan kept his Separation Slayer sword. He did not come here to test his sword in the first place. Instead, he came here to test the power of the fire steel. He closed his eyes and reached out one of his palms. His palm traced the lines of the fire steel in the air. Traces of black flames slowly condensed into a 1,000 zhang tall fire steel in the air. It was almost the same as the steel of sun and moon in the profound Yin world. The only difference was that one of them was pitch black while the other one was fiery red. Ning Fan remained silent. He could vaguely feel that after he condensed the flames into a steel, the talisman of Yin and Yang in his chest began to hurt. Along with the pain, it was as if something was being drawn out from the steel of sun and moon and converged into the black steel in front of him. With Ning Fan's experience in the soul extraction technique, he clearly realized that what was being drawn out from the steel of sun and moon was the steel's soul. Condense. Ning Fan condensed a single word and the steel's soul and the black steel in front of him quickly fused together. The magic power in his body flowed away at a terrifying speed like a clay ox entering the sea, flowing into the black steel. The aura force that the black steel in front of him was emitting became more and more terrifying. Puff, when the power of the fire tablet rose to a certain level, it seemed like he had suffered a serious backlash from the magic technique. This technique was actually powerful enough to cause a backlash to Ning Fan. Looking at the 1,000 zhang tall fire steel in front of him, Ning Fan's eyes turned serious. Then, he reached out with his 5 fingers and clawed at the corpse of the realm beast. The black steel immediately rose into the air and heavily fell on the corpse of the realm beast like a landslide. With just a single strike, the entire Yuanya world was immediately turned upside down. It was as if this small kiliacosm was about to be smashed into pieces by the fire steel. An aura force that nearly suffocated Ning Fan landed on the corpse of the realm beast. That incomparably hard corpse was actually split into 2 by the fire steel. Boom! As the earth trembled and the mountains shook, the grand formation and magic treasures that Ning Fan had painstakingly set up in the Yuanya world were all destroyed by the fire steel. The violent wave of the magic treasures hit Ning Fan's chest, sending him flying away while coughing out blood. His eyes were filled with shock. Amidst the shock, there was also unconcealable joy. If he was not mistaken, the power of the fire steel was definitely not comparable to a divine transformation realm attack. It was even stronger than a void refinement realm attack. This is a void fragmentation realm attack. With the help of the steel's soul, the power of my steel is actually equivalent to a void fragmentation realm attack. Ning Fan could not help but feel excited. He had been cultivating diligently until now. Even though his strength was getting stronger and stronger, he was still far away from attaining the void fragmentation realm. However, with the help of the steel, Ning Fan could barely exert a void fragmentation realm attack. Even if the backlash was extremely great, it was still a shocking and joyous event. For the first time, he firmly believed that he could go against a void fragmentation realm sovereign with his own strength. Ning Fan consumed a few pills to suppress the serious injuries caused by the magic technique's backlash. Then, as if he noticed something, his eyes dimmed. The reason why the destructive power of that attack could reach the void fragmentation realm was because the steel's soul had been integrated with it. Ning Fan scanned the profound Yin world with his spirit sense and helplessly found out that the void fragmentation realm attack just now had actually exhausted the steel's soul. The steel's soul could not be replenished by itself. He still needed to fill the steel with flames in order to replenish it. Ning Fan had refined countless spiritual flames along the way. The flames that he had accumulated were all used up in that single attack just now. Unless he collects countless flames to replenish the steel's soul again, he would definitely not be able to launch another void fragmentation realm attack. This void fragmentation realm attack really has a huge limitation. However, I wonder how many flames I need to collect in order to replenish the steel's soul. If I can replenish the steel's soul again, I will have a void fragmentation realm trump card to defend myself. Even if I face a true void fragmentation realm expert, I will certainly have the power to launch a single attack. Ning Fan's eyes burned with passion. Breaking through to the third level of his cultivation method and becoming the lord of the profound Yin world was indeed a great deal for him. Even though the profound Yin world and the steel both had their drawbacks, if I make good use of them, it might not necessarily be a heaven-defying technique. Rumble. A terrifying aura force of a void fragmentation realm attack rose from the direction of the Mo Lan Island, causing the entire external endless sea to tremble violently. Even with the Yuanya world as a shield, the terror of that attack still shocked the endless external endless sea. Countless experts looked at the direction of the Mo Lan Island and were inwardly shocked. Such a terrifying attack had shaken the entire external endless sea. There is no doubt about it. It is a void fragmentation realm attack. There is a void fragmentation realm expert in the direction of the Mo Lan Island. Each of the cultivators of the external endless sea was shocked. Isn't the direction of the Mo Lan Island the place where Ning Fan cultivates his bewitching technique and plucks women? Why is there the fluctuation of a void fragmentation realm attack? Chapter 368. Even though the backlash from the steel of sun and moon was severe, it was not a big deal to him at all. With the mystical black star art, Ning Fan's healing speed was incomparable to ordinary people. For 10 consecutive days, Molan Island was enshrouded in black starlight. 10 days later, Ning Fan pushed open the door and walked out. His injuries had completely healed. He was just like an unkillable cockroach. More and more cultivators rushed to Mo Lan Island to investigate the cause of that void fragmentation realm attack. Of course, no one doubted him. They just thought that he was a void fragmentation realm expert of the rain world who had entered the external endless sea. Ning Fan was too lazy to negotiate with these cultivators. He kept all the ladies into his cauldron ring and directly kept the star positioning formation away. Many cultivators wanted to ask Ning Fan if he had seen any void fragmentation realm old monsters before. However, as soon as Ning Fan glared at them, all of them fled in terror. None of them dared to utter another word. Ning Fan's traveling light flew towards the southeast. His destination was the Lost World Palace. He had 3 reasons for going to the Lost World Palace. Firstly, there were 4 pill pagodas in the Lost World Palace. Each of them contained countless spiritual herbs. After all, Ning Fan was a pill refinement elder of the Lost World Palace. It was normal for him to collect some spiritual herbs that could nourish one's primordial spirit to save Luoyu. Secondly, Ning Fan had accumulated quite a lot of heavenly and earthly treasures by slaughtering along the way. 18 drops of void refinement realm demon blood, 4,700 traces of nascent soul realm sword chi, 17 intense severing pills and the heart of Mother Earth. With so many good things, it would not be difficult for him to transform his dermic powers into divinity, and it would not be difficult for him to increase his sword intent. This time, Ning Fan had probably spent quite a lot of time in seclusion to refine heavenly treasures and use his magic power to achieve the divine transformation realm. Thus, it was inevitable for him to return to the Lost World Palace. His third goal was to take care of Bei Xiaoman on behalf of Yuan Yao and return the stone warrior. If it wasn't because of his relationship with Yuan Yao, Ning Fan would at most not hurt Bei Xiaoman. It was absolutely impossible for him to show kindness to her. In his heart, he had already decided that Yuan Yao was his woman and Bei Xiaoman was the younger sister that Yuan Yao cared about. As her brother-in-law, it was naturally necessary for him to take care of Bei Xiaoman. At the same time, he wanted to see if Bei Xiaoman's crimson dragon had been completely wiped out. Of course, if Bei Xiaoman still has some menstrual blood left, he would be more than willing to take a few cups of it. Even though it was a little heavy, Bei Xiaoman's meridian blood contained magic that was not inferior to a Dao fruit. After traveling alone for tens of millions of li, Ning Fan retracted his traveling light and landed on the Penglai Immortal Island. He completely ignored the island's grand formation. With one step, he vanished without a trace. No one knew that Zhou Ming, the fiendish demon who destroyed the Dao massacre sect, had arrived at Penglai. The shadow of a huge island floated in the sky, formed by the corpse of the divine turtle. When Ning Fan first came to Penglai in the past, he clicked his tongue in admiration when he saw this immortal island. Now, however, it seemed indifferent and ordinary. The scenery was picturesque and the profound cranes were chirping in the sky. It was just like in the past. The only difference was that Ning Fan was no longer the insignificant harmonious spirit realm cultivator who was being hunted everywhere. At the center of the island, inside the Black Warrior City, there were 4 10,000 zhang tall pill pagodas, with a 7-storied silver pagoda in the center. In the pill tower of the southern city, Ning Fan's figure appeared outside the southern tower. It was from the southern pagoda that he obtained Bei Xiaoman's permission to enter the 5th floor of the Lost World Pagoda. He managed to form his nascent soul in 320 years. Now, he was back. His arrival did not reveal the slightest bit of his aura, and no one paid any attention to him. Outside the southern pagoda, there were many cultivators who were bustling with activity. They seemed to be watching a show. None of them noticed that there was a peerless devil lord standing behind the crowd. TSK TSK TSK. Miss Yalan is really pitiful. She actually caught the eye of that Gu Zhen and he wants to become her Dao companion. Rumor has it that Gu Zhen is licentious and lustful. He has countless wives and concubines. All of the female cultivators he married were discarded after he played with them. Miss Yalan is such a gentle woman. It's really a pity if she is ruined by Gu Zhen. Sure. Do you want to die? That Gu Zhen is the divine envoy of the Rain Palace, a 4th revolution pill master and a dignified mid-nascent soul realm expert. Moreover, his master is revered Yen, of the Rain Palace. He is a dignified high-grade 5th revolution pill master. With such an identity, it's understandable that he is a little dissolute. Miss Yalan's appearance and temperament are extraordinary. However, her background is not strong and she is just a gold core realm cultivator. Marrying Gu Zhen is indeed a wonderful thing. Sigh. However, this Miss Yalan seems to have someone she likes and she isn't willing to marry Gu Zhen. I heard that she is so stubborn that even some of the elders in her clan were angered. The Ya clan can't afford to offend the Rain Palace. A group of people were discussing among themselves. None of them knew that their words were heard by a white-robed young man. Yalan is an old acquaintance. The disciple of revered Yen. Interesting. This revered Yen first sent 3 peak nascent soul realm cultivators to join the Rain Palace and made them the tower master. Then, he sent his disciple to forcefully marry Yalan. He seems to have some resentment towards the Lost World Palace. Is it because of the green phoenix flame? In the outer hall of the southern tower, Yalan pursed her red lips and sat on the lower seat. Her tight-fitting cheongsam outlined her graceful curves. Her delicate face was filled with helplessness of fate. Master Gu Zhen, please don't force me. I don't want to marry anyone yet. Yalan bit her lips and tried her best to remain calm. Humph. Her rejection immediately aroused the dissatisfaction of a sinister-looking man. A short and fat young man was sitting on the upper seat. His expression was frivolous and he was drinking a bowl of spirit tea. After hearing Yolande's rejection, the short and fat young man suddenly stood up and threw the bowl of tea towards Yolande. His tone was cold. Humph. I am Gu Zhen, a dignified Fourth Revolution pill master. It's your honor to have my eyes on you. What qualifications do you have to refuse me? Pa! The teacup flew in a perfect parabola, smashing towards Yolande's pretty face. Yolande clenched her teeth and gently dodged to the side. However, the teacup shattered with a loud bang, and the porcelain fragments streaked across Yolande's face, leaving a trail of blood. Pain. What hurt more than pain was humiliation. What was more hurtful than humiliation was the indifference of family members. 3 elders of the Ye family sat beside Yolande. All 3 of them were at the nascent soul realm. 2 of them were at the early stage and 1 was at the middle stage. Seeing their own juniors being humiliated, yet no one stood up for Yolande. The 3 elders of the Ye clan stared coldly at Yolande, seemingly blaming her for speaking rudely and offending Gu Zhen. Yolande. Master Gu Zhen was right. It's your fortune that she has taken a liking to you. Whether you want to or not, you have to marry her. This matter concerns the survival of your family, so you can't make your own decisions. Please forgive me, Master Gu Zhen. Yolande is young and ignorant. Please don't be angry. Gu Zhen's gloomy eyes were filled with mockery and complacency. He was the disciple of revered Yen of the Rain Palace. He was a dignified mid-nascent soul realm pill master and a Fourth Revolution pill master. How could he allow a gold core realm girl to reject him? Although Yolande was a member of the Lost World Palace, she was just an ordinary subordinate. Moreover, this was a private matter of the Ye clan. Since the Ye clan had agreed to marry Yolande, there was no reason for her to reject it. If you don't marry me, I guarantee that the Ye clan will be annihilated. Gu Zhen threatened coldly. His threat made Yolande smile in despair. She was not willing to marry him, but fate did not give her the right to choose. Marry me, marry me. I'm just an early gold core realm girl. What qualifications do I have to reject the request of a divine messenger of the Rain Palace? Moreover, Gu Zhen was a Fourth Revolution pill master. Yolande did not say anything else. She raised her head and glanced at Gu Zhen. Gradually, she calmed down. She did not dare to resist fate, but she looked down on Gu Zhen from the bottom of her heart. Unknowingly, the figure of a young man suddenly appeared in front of her eyes. That year, a young man who was covered in blood came to the Southern Pill Tower. He called himself Zhou Ming. That year, Yolande's eyes were filled with love. She wanted to sleep with him and become his dual cultivation Dao companion. However, she was rejected by him. Looking back on the past, she felt that she was really a joke. Today, that person had already become the supreme being of the endless sea. Perhaps he did not even remember that there was a girl who had a crush on him. All right, I'll marry you, Yolande smiled bitterly and nodded. Immediately, Gu Zhen revealed a sarcastic smile. Why? Weren't you saying that you would die for your chastity just now? Why are you willing to marry me now? Very good. That's right. If you listen to my orders, I'll make sure that you'll feel pleasure every day and night. Gu Zhen's eyes inadvertently flashed with a hint of lust. The reason he came to the Lost World Palace was to follow his master's order to plant a new chess piece here. In the past, the 3 tower masters were revered Flame's chess pieces. However, they were all killed by Ning Fan. The green phoenix flame was already gone. Gu Zhen's purpose of coming here was just to plant a new chess piece. As he approached Yolande step by step, Gu Zhen raised his hand with a cold smile and pointed at the top of Yolande's head. He was about to plant a restrictive spell on her. Yolande's delicate body trembled and her eyes were filled with despair. If she was only marrying Gu Zhen as a concubine, she would still have her freedom. However, if she was planted with a restrictive spell, she would no longer be a concubine. She would just be a human cauldron and a toy. No. She gently dodged and her eyes were filled with despair. No. She did not want to be planted with a restrictive spell and be treated like a servant. If you continue to dodge, you'll die. Gu Zhen's eyes turned gloomy as he pointed at the air with his finger. He did not show any mercy at all. Instead, he ignited his finger with the strength of a nascent soul realm cultivator. Not only did he want to plant a restrictive spell on Yalan, but he also wanted to severely injure her as a punishment. The firepower of this finger was so strong that even the 3 nascent soul realm cultivators of the Yi family would not dare to withstand it. Just as the finger was about to touch Yalan, a smiling figure in white floated in front of Yalan, blocking her path with a faint smile. "Miss Yalan, long time no see. How have you been?" Whoosh! The white-robed young man just stood there without revealing any trace of his aura. However, Gu Zhen could not help but feel afraid, as if the young man in front of him was a peerless ferocious beast. Just as the finger was about to hit the young man, the firepower at the tip of his finger suddenly disappeared. It was absorbed by the steel of sun and moon. Gasp! Gu Zhen was shocked. He could not see through the young man's cultivation level. He only thought that he was a young lad who liked to play the hero and save the damsel in distress. He took a glance at the young man's bone age and found that he was not even 400 years old. He thought to himself that a cultivator who was only 400 years old would not be able to reach the nascent soul realm at the very most. There was no need to be afraid of him. I can't be wrong. This white-robed young man must be a gold core realm cultivator. Furthermore, this gold core realm cultivator had some kind of secret treasure that seemed to be able to suppress fire. It strangely absorbed all the firepower from his finger. Humph. Insignificant skill. A mere golden core realm cultivator dares to act like a hero in front of me? You must be courting death. Gu Zhen's gaze turned dark as he pushed out with both palms. 6 balls of grade 4 spirit fire of different colors whizzed out, turning into 6 streaks of fiery light that swept towards the young man with the intention of killing him. Ordinary nascent soul realm fire cultivators would be considered outstanding if they could control 3 balls of grade 4 spirit fire at the same time. However, Gu Zhen was able to control 6 at the same time. It was clear how profound his control of fire was. If it was in the past, there would definitely be many people who would exclaim when Gu Zhen controlled 6 flames in front of everyone. However, no one was surprised when he controlled 6 flames at the same time this time round. It was as though all the cultivators were dumbstruck and petrified, unable to think. Gu Zhen swept his gaze and all the cultivators focused their gazes on the white-robed young man in unison. Most of their eyes were filled with fear. As for Yalan, she covered her red lips with agitation and disbelief in her beautiful eyes. Gu Zhen was surprised. Could this white-robed young man have some sort of background to be able to intimidate so many cultivators? Otherwise, how could so many experts be afraid of him given his golden core cultivation? Humph. So what if you have some sort of background? Can your background be more powerful than mine? I'm a member of the Rain Palace and the disciple of Lord Yen. I'm someone who can do whatever I want in the Rain world. I don't need to be afraid of you. Gu Zhen's murderous intent surged and he did not hold back at all. He swore to burn the young man to death with the 6 balls of spiritual fire to teach him a lesson. However, at the next moment, the initially harmless white-robed young man's eyes turned as cold as ice and he flicked his sleeves. With a casual flick of his sleeves, 9 black flames that were half ice and half fire turned into a wall of fire, engulfing Gu Zhen along with the 6 balls of grade 4 spirit fire. With the addition of the black flames, the initially arrogant Gu Zhen was immediately drenched in cold sweat. He had just entered the Boundless Sea not long ago and did not know Zhou Ming's appearance at all. The only thing he knew was that each of the 9 balls of ice and fire was a grade 5 spirit item. It was a good item that even his master would not be able to obtain. Each of them could easily burn Gu Zhen to death thousands of times. Each of them had the power of a divine transformation stage attack. Gu Zhen was horrified. How could he not know that the white-robed young man in front of him was not a gold core cultivator but a peerless expert who could kill him like an ant? Almost at the same time, Guzhen felt an irresistible sense of death. He could not believe that a young man who was less than 400 years old could be so strong. He could not believe that he, the divine messenger of the Rain Palace and the disciple of a revered elder, would be killed in the boundless sea. Spare! Spare! Before he could even utter a word, he was already engulfed by the sea of flames. With a whoosh, the flames disappeared. In the outer hall, there was only a pile of black ashes scattered on the ground. Guzhen is dead. All the cultivators on the scene were frightened by the young man's appearance. After recognizing his identity, they were already filled with unbearable fear. Now that they saw the young man killing Guzhen mercilessly, they were even more terrified. As for Yalan, she was at a loss of what to do. As if she had thought of something, she immediately stood up and pushed Ning Fan's arm. Run! Zhou Ming, quickly run! Guzhen's master is in Penglai. Yalan spoke in a panic, as if she had forgotten how powerful the young man in front of her was. Why would he be afraid of a mere revered flame? Ning Fan suddenly smiled. This Yalan is interesting. When she first met me, she wholeheartedly offered herself to sleep with me. When she first met me, she urged me to run for my life. I'm sorry. I didn't hold back just now. I accidentally burned your fiancé into ashes. I didn't mean it. Ning Fan was still in the mood to tease her. What do you mean by accidentally? Yalan was speechless. Who would accidentally kill a mid-nascent soul realm old monster? She asked him to run, but he didn't. He even joked. Just as she was feeling nervous, a loud roar resounded across Penglai at the next moment, causing her face to turn pale. Who are you? How dare you kill my disciple? You're courting death. In the silver tower of the Lost World Tower in the Black Tortoise City, a red-nosed old man in bright red robes was talking to the Tower Lord of the Lost World Palace, Lu Qing. While they were talking, a piece of life jade in the old man's storage pouch suddenly shattered without any warning. That piece of life jade belonged to his disciple, Guzhen. When the life jade shattered, Guzhen died. The red-robed old man could not believe that there would be someone who dared to kill his disciple while he was in charge of Penglai. He wanted to see what kind of person was so audacious. Revered Yen was a peak spirit-severing realm expert with high-grade 5th Revolution pill refinement realm. He was a renowned pill refinement grandmaster in the Rain world. Whoever dares to kill his disciple must pay with blood. Why is the Black Tortoise City so lively today? A red-robed young lady who was in seclusion suddenly sensed something. She walked out of the stone chamber and released her spirit sense. The moment she saw it, her face immediately turned cold. Zhou Ming. Why is it him? How did he offend revered Yen? Not good. The red-robed young lady suddenly became nervous. This kind of nervousness would only appear when she was worried about the stone warrior in the past. Damn it. That big idiot. Why did he offend revered Yen for no reason? The red-robed young lady panicked and immediately went down to the highest floor of the southern tower. Her footsteps were hurried as if she was going to help Ning Fan. Penglai was bustling today. Chapter 369. Who are you? How dare you kill my disciple? You're courting death. A furious roar resounded through the Black Tortoise City, accompanied by the piercing screech of a peak divine transformation realm cultivator piercing through the air. Not good. It was the Flame Venerable One. This person is extremely protective of his own people. No matter how Guzhen died, he will definitely fight revered Ming to the death. Reverend Ming is one of the 8 reverends of the Eternal Endless Sea. Why would he be afraid of Reverend Yen? What you don't know is that revered Yen cultivates a sea of consciousness of fire. In his life, he has devoured an endless amount of flames. Not only is his pill refinement mastery outstanding, but his combat strength is also extraordinary. He had once burned a half-step void refinement realm expert to death with his flames. What? Revered Yen is able to kill a half-step void refinement realm expert. Doesn't that mean that his strength is at the top among the 7 venerated beings of the Internal Sea? Not only that, rumor has it that when Revered Flame entered the Endless Sea this time, he even brought along 2 void refinement realm old monsters to protect him. Even though we don't know where the 2 of them are now, it's enough to show that Revered Flame's position in the Rain Palace is not ordinary. After a series of discussions, even though the crowd of cultivators knew Ning Fan's identity, there were still quite a number of them who did not think highly of him. Thus, they dispersed in an uproar, afraid that they would be associated with Ning Fan in any way. Not long after everyone retreated, there was a loud boom, and a blazing flame descended outside the southern tower, revealing an old man in a red robe. The old man's aura was extremely powerful, especially the flames on his body. As he stood there, the air around him heated up for no reason. Crackling sounds of explosions could be heard as his aura soared into the sky. This person was Gu Zhen's master, the revered elder of the Rain Palace, Revered Yen. Who are you? Revered Yen shouted coldly. His sound waves turned into blazing flames, sweeping towards the southern tower as if he wanted to incinerate Ning Fan along with the tower. This move was called fire transformation from sound, and it was an extremely advanced technique to control fire. Once it was used, it immediately attracted a lot of attention. Layers of fire waves swept out, and in the next instant, the fire waves suddenly disappeared without a trace. Ning Fan calmly walked out of the southern tower. His indifferent eyes swept across Revered Lord Yen. He took a step forward and the ground trembled. Revered Lord Yen could only feel a tremendous force coming at him for no reason and he hurriedly dodged it. However, this dodge caused the aura that he had gathered from his anger to crumble. I'm Zhou Ming, the Pagoda Master of the Lost World Palace. Zhou Ming. You said you're Zhou Ming. Reverend Yen seemed to have recalled something as the corner of his mouth curled into a cold smile. You were the one who took the Azure Phoenix Flame. Did you kill Tuki and the other 2? So what if I am? Ning Fan was indifferent. If so, you can die now. Revered Yen smiled coldly. In the past, when he had the Green Wan Flame, he had already wanted to kill Ning Fan and seize the flame to vent his anger. How could a mere Ning Fan be able to kill the people he had planted in the Lost World Palace? Today, his disciple had also died in Ning Fan's hands. Revered Yen would certainly not let Ning Fan go after taking revenge on him for so many times. Even if they put aside the grudges between them, Revered Flame was determined to obtain the several types of earth vein demonic flames that Ning Fan possessed. Revered Yen patted his storage pouch and took out a fiery red flying sword in his hand. Just as he was about to fight against Ning Fan, the nervous voices of the 2 ladies suddenly reached his ears. It's not his fault. I'm the one who offended Gu Zhen. How dare you? Revered Elder of the Rain Palace, are you trying to create trouble in my Lost World Palace? The one who begged for mercy was Yalan, but the one who scolded Ning Fan was Bei Xiaoman. Ning Fan was secretly surprised. Yalan had pleaded for mercy on his behalf, but Bei Xiaoman actually spoke up for him. It was really strange. Doesn't this unruly little girl want to kill me every day and night to vent her anger? I heard that she has successfully broken through to the divine transformation realm. Could it be that her personality has changed after her breakthrough? The crowd of cultivators who were watching the battle were stunned. The originally lively battle was actually stopped by the 2 ladies. Revered Yen held his sword and stood upright. His eyes turned grim, but he did not attack Ning Fan immediately. The reason why he did not attack Ning Fan immediately was not because of Yalan but because he was intimidated by Bei Xiaoman. In terms of cultivation base, Bei Xiaoman was not worthy of Revered Yen's attention at all. However, in terms of identity, Bei Xiaoman was the 4th mistress of the Northern Heaven. She was not someone whom Revered Yen could afford to offend. However, what Revered Yen could not understand was the rumor that Bei Xiaoman had always been on bad terms with Ning Fan. The reason why he dared to attack Ning Fan in the Black Warrior City was because of this information. It seems like the information I received was wrong. How is this Bei Xiaoman hating Ning Fan? She is obviously lustful to the core and has an affair with Ning Fan. Reverend Yen secretly sneered. The so-called Northern Sky fourth young mistress was merely a broken shoe. Miss Bei, this man killed my disciple. Everyone here has witnessed it. Are you trying to protect him? Kill your disciple. Bei Xiaoman rolled her eyes at him in annoyance. Why does this stinky Zhou Ming still act without thinking? Why does he have the guts to kill just about anyone? Bei Xiaoman was domineering and arrogant, but she knew her limits. She dared to kill a 4th Revolution Pill Master, but she was very polite to a 5th Revolution Pill Master. She would not make things difficult for a divine transformation realm old monster. As for revered Yen, it was said that he was quite popular in the Rain Palace. He was good friends with many void refinement realm experts of the Rain Palace. Bei Xiaoman was not willing to offend such a person. She clearly knew that it was very stupid to offend revered Flame. However, when she saw Ning Fan smiling without saying a word even though a great calamity was about to befall him, Bei Xiaoman was infuriated. This Zhou Ming is my, Bei Xiaoman's, man. You can't kill him. Hua. The surroundings were in an uproar. Rumor had it that Bei Xiaoman was the most ruthless, domineering, and unruly person. She would never understand her subordinates. Why did her personality change today? Why would she risk offending the Rain Palace just to protect a Devil Lord? Devil Lord Zhou Ming was indeed powerful and he was one of the 8 venerated beings of the Internal Sea. However, revered Flame's status was even higher than the 8 venerated beings. Even if Bei Xiaoman had a powerful background, she should also know that it was not advisable to offend the Rain Palace in the lower worlds. Old ancestor Lu Qing, who was guarding the Silver Tower, was definitely the most surprised one. Even though he heard that Bei Xiaoman had severed part of her red dragon after achieving the divine transformation realm and temporarily suppressed her menstrual cycle, he would never have thought that she would protect others. Ning Fan looked at Bei Xiaoman with a strange expression. His gaze actually made her blush out of embarrassment and anger. Inwardly, he suddenly felt that this Bei Xiaoman also seemed to have some cute points. Revered Flame's eyes flashed with a hint of hesitation. In fact, he did not expect that the Lost World Palace would protect Ning Fan like this. Revered Flame had also heard about Ning Fan's fearsome reputation as the 8th venerated being of the Internal Sea. However, most of them did not believe it. Even if Ning Fan really had half-step void refinement realm combat power, Revered Flame would not put him in his eyes. Bei Xiaoman was the only person in the Penglai Immortal Island that he was afraid of. He also did not want to offend the Lost World Palace. However, when his spirit sense scanned Ning Fan's dantian again and again, the greed in his eyes became stronger. He had wanted to kill Ning Fan since a long time ago. From Tuki's death and the green wan flame falling into Ning Fan's hands. This time, many experts of the Rain Palace entered the Endless Sea for the slot to enter the Thunder Sovereign's tomb. However, Revered Flame already had the slot and he did not care about it at all. The only reason he came here was for the Earth Vein demonic flames. Tuki's death allowed Revered Flame to find out a lot of information about Ning Fan. The most important information was that Ning Fan possessed several types of Earth Vein demonic flames. Today, he personally confirmed that there were 4 types of Earth Vein demonic flames in Ning Fan's body. If he obtains these 4 types of demonic flames and devours them with his flame art, his cultivation base would certainly improve tremendously. He might even break through to the half-step void refinement realm or even the void refinement realm. After thinking for a while, Revered Flame made up his mind. No matter what, he must keep Ning Fan here today. Miss Bei, I respect you for the sake of the Lost World Palace. However, it doesn't mean that I have to give face to others. This man killed my disciple. I must kill him. If I have offended you in any way, please forgive me. How dare you? I won't forgive you. Bei Xiaoman's beautiful eyes turned cold. She rolled up her sleeves and furrowed her brows. It seemed like she was about to rush forward and teach revered flame a lesson. However, just as she took a step forward, Ning Fan gently grabbed her wrist and dragged her behind him. He smiled casually. "Miss Bei, thank you for protecting me because of our past relationship. However, even though we have a deep relationship, we haven't reached the final step. I still can't be considered as your woman. You don't have to protect me like this." The surrounding cultivators were shocked again. Revered Ming was actually joking with Bei Xiaoman. Judging from Revered Ming's words, could it be that he had a close relationship with Bei Xiaoman and they had done a lot of lovey-dovey things? However, they had not reached the final step. Teasing. It was blatant teasing. "Let go of me. Don't touch me. Disgusting. Who has a deep relationship with you?" Bei Xiaoman slapped Ning Fan's hand away. She did not realize that she had just been verbally teased by Ning Fan. "Be quiet. You too." Ning Fan glanced at Bei Xiaoman and then at Yalan. All of a sudden, the smile on his face disappeared and his expression turned cold. He was smiling because he was in a good mood when he saw his two old friends, Yalan and Bei Xiaoman, worried about him. He was cold because Revered Flame kept saying that he wanted to kill him. Even a clay figurine would get angry. Interesting. I've finally made the endless sea fear me. Now, the Rain Palace is here to pick a fight with me. Ning Fan's cold eyes glanced at Revered Flame. He saw through his intentions with just a glance. This guy is just a hypocrite. Avenge my disciple? What a legitimate reason. He just wants to covet my earth vein demonic flame. It's just like how he coveted the Lost World Palace's green one flame in the past. If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. If the disciple is that kind of trash, how good can the master be? Yalan was Ning Fan's old friend. Besides, Ning Fan was the lord of the 3 pagodas of the Lost World Palace. It's impossible for him to leave his subordinates in the lurch. It's understandable for him to lend a hand. Gu Zhen was the one who bullied and humiliated him first. Ning Fan then killed him. With Ning Fan's personality, he did not care who Gu Zhen was. If he wants to die, he will kill him. Ning Fan was never a magnanimous person who could tolerate others bullying and humiliating. If Gu Zhen was killed, then he was killed. If Revered Flame offended him, then he was offended. He and Revered Flame already had an old grudge. This grudge had become irreconcilable since the day Ning Fan killed the 3 Tower Masters of the Lost World Palace. Besides, Ning Fan did not think that Revered Flame wanted to kill him just to avenge his disciple. Ever since Revered Flame appeared, he had spread his spirit sense 7 times to sense Ning Fan's dantian within a few breaths. When he sensed the chi of the 4 earth vein demonic flames, the corner of his eyes revealed a hint of joy. It could not be hidden from Ning Fan's eyes and ears at all. Avenging for his disciple was just a hypocritical explanation. His disciple was dead but he showed joy. It was self-evident. Right from the beginning, this Revered Flame had come for my earth vein demonic flames. Even if he didn't kill Gu Zhen, once the latter knew that he was in Penglai, he would still have other reasons to launch a sneak attack and hunt him down. Ning Fan's gaze subtly shifted to a certain direction. The purple star in his left eye flashed faintly. He saw 2 Void Refinement Realm cultivators hiding there. Most likely, they were hired by Revered Yen to protect him. No wonder the Flame Reverend was so arrogant that he even dared to step on Bei Xiaoman's face. It turned out that he came with a backer. The other party had 2 Void Refinement Realm experts while he had 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. Thus, there was no need for him to be afraid of them. Ning Fan's eyelids twitched. He drew out a trace of the chi of the Realm Beast puppet from his storage pouch and secretly transmitted it to the 2 Void Refinement Realm beings who were in hiding. In an instant, the 2 of them were shocked and immediately sent a message to the Flame Reverend. Yen Zun's eyes were also fixed on Ning Fan. His eyes were filled with killing intent. All of a sudden, it was as if someone was secretly transmitting a message to Flame Reverend. At the next moment, Flame Reverend's expression changed greatly. His killing intent towards Ning Fan that he originally had became much weaker. That voice was emitted by a void refinement realm being who was hiding in the dark. He was reminding the Flame Reverend. This Zhou Ming is not simple. He saw us. Moreover, he purposely spread a trace of void refinement realm aura around us. It's not a good idea to mess with him. What? Why is there a void refinement realm chi on his body? Could it be that his seniors are secretly protecting him? Is it a void refinement realm senior who is hiding in the heavenly dwelling? The Flame Reverend was a little frightened. Compared to Bei Xiaoman's face, he was more concerned about the face of a void refinement realm expert. Even though the Flame Reverend was arrogant, that was only true for divine transformation realm beings. He was still quite fearful of void refinement realm beings. Even if there is a void refinement realm being protecting him, I don't want to give up on this earth vein demonic flame. The Flame Reverend gritted his teeth and transmitted his voice. Then, just use a gentler method to seize the flame. Don't completely fall out with him. Let's have a duel. It won't hurt our friendship. As long as we don't go too far, that void refinement realm being in hiding will not interfere with the battle between you juniors. One of the two void refinement realm beings advised. A duel? Alright. The crowd of cultivators saw the Flame Reverend mumbling something. No one knew what he was saying. A moment later, his killing intent gradually withered like an eggplant that had been hit by frost. The most inconceivable thing was that the Flame Reverend who was indifferent to killing just now suddenly withdrew all of his anger. He burst into laughter and looked at Ning Fan with a hint of admiration in his eyes. Then, he clicked his tongue and praised. One of the 8 venerated beings of the internal sea, revered Ming, Zhou Ming. You really live up to your reputation. I admire you. Just now, when I said that I wanted to avenge my disciple, it was just a joke. I just wanted to test revered Ming's courage. You can't take it seriously. That disciple of mine is ignorant and incompetent. He actually dared to lay his eyes on the female cultivators of the Lost World Palace. Death cannot wipe out his crimes. Fellow Taoist, you've killed Gu Zhen. The crowd of onlookers was speechless. It was obvious that the two of them were about to fight. Why did the Flame Reverend suddenly change his expression and speak to Ning Fan in such a friendly manner? When they thought about it again, they suddenly realized that this Flame Reverend was just playing with Ning Fan just now. That's right. The Flame Reverend is a well-known senior while Ning Fan is just a rising expert. Why would the Flame Reverend bully the weak? His breadth of mind is really broad. Ning Fan killed his disciple, but he still let bygones be bygones and thought that his disciple had done too many evil deeds and deserved to die. Many cultivators who did not know the truth began to admire the Flame Reverend. Ning Fan also withdrew his cold expression and revealed a smile. His eyes, however, were filled with a hint of sarcasm. This Flame Reverend is indeed a shameless person. I purposely released a trace of the chi of the realm beast puppet in order to suppress those two void refinement realm cultivators. As expected, I succeeded. Gu Zhen, Tuki and the others are indeed nothing in his eyes. This Flame Reverend is the type of person who would give up everything for his own benefits. So Flame Reverend is joking. However, I don't think this joke is funny at all. Hee hee. The Flame Reverend let out a few hollow laughs as if he did not hear the sarcasm in Ning Fan's words. Suddenly, his tone changed. He looked at Ning Fan and said with deep meaning. I feel like old friends with revered Ming. I wonder if I have the honor to exchange some pointers with revered Ming. Don't worry, revered Ming. It's just a martial arts competition and it won't harm your life. Naturally, there's no need for the elders behind you to protect you. The Flame Reverend's words had a hidden meaning. I've always been alone in this world. I don't have any seniors. As for exchanging pointers, I don't like battles where there are no restrictions. Ning Fan purposely made a joke which made the Flame Reverend even more suspicious. I can't be wrong. The deliberate explanation is just a cover-up. This Zhou Ming most likely really has a Void Refinement Realm expert protecting him. If that's the case, I really can't offend a Void Refinement Realm old monster for a mere 5th grade earth fire. The Flame Reverend secretly felt lucky. Fortunately, the 2 Void Refinement Realm cultivators had reminded him earlier. Otherwise, he would certainly be fighting with Ning Fan right now. Oh. Fellow Taoist Zhou wants to set up a bet for a battle. Great. I also have the same intention. Why don't we each take one type of Earth Vein Demonic Flame as the wager? One type is too little. If you want to bet, let's bet all of the Earth Vein Demonic Flames. I have 4 types of demonic flames while you have 3. You won't lose out in this bet. Hiss, the crowd of cultivators sucked in a breath of cold air. Other than the Flame Reverend and Ning Fan who could sense each other's number of demonic flames, the others did not know how many each of them had. However, as soon as Ning Fan said those words, how could the crowd not know that Flame Reverend had 3 types of Earth Vein demonic flames which were hard to obtain at the Divine Transformation Realm while Ning Fan had 4 types? Rumor has it that if one gathers all 12 types of Earth Vein demonic flames, the destructive power of the flames would be comparable to a Void Fragmentation Realm attack. If the 2 of them bet all of their flames in this battle, no matter who wins, they would possess 7 types of Earth Vein demonic flames. Don't bet. That's the green wand flame that I'm giving you. If you lose. Bei Xiaoman did not know what was bothering her. Why can't I lose the item that I'm giving to Ning Fan? Don't worry. I won't lose. Ning Fan smiled confidently. He was not afraid of the Flame Reverend nor the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts. Moreover, if he uses all 3 of his Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets and loses 1 or 2 of his spiritual puppets, he might even have a chance to eliminate one of the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts. However, what benefit would it bring to Ning Fan if he were to kill the Rain Palace experts in front of countless cultivators? He was a person who would maximize his benefits. He would not kill Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace for fun. Divine Transformation Realm old monsters were the revered elders of the Rain Palace while Void Refinement Realm old monsters were the peak combat power of the Rain Palace. Ning Fan could imagine that if he were to kill the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts in front of the crowd of cultivators, countless Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Rain Palace would come and fight him with their lives tomorrow. Being able to snatch the flame from the Flame Reverend without losing all decorum was the best outcome. Of course, fists and kicks have no eyes during a bet. If Ning Fan cripples the Flame Reverend, it would be considered as an accident, just like how he accidentally burned Gu Zhen to ashes. Ning Fan was determined to get the Earth Vein demonic flame. Revered Yen was also determined to get it. He harumphed coldly in his mind. He could not bear to see Ning Fan's confident expression. On the surface, however, he put on a fake smile and made a few excuses. Finally, he agreed to bet all of his demonic flames. Hee. Fellow Taoist Zhou, don't worry. I will certainly show mercy. Revered Yen sounded happy but he could not help but sneer inwardly. What he was thinking was actually the same as Ning Fan. In front of the Void Refinement Realm elders of Ning Fan's clan, Revered Yen could not kill Ning Fan. However, fists and kicks were silent. If he accidentally cripples Ning Fan, it would be a different story, brat. You are not qualified to fight me, Yun Yen. I will certainly cripple you and let you know who's stronger. Revered Yen sneered. However, he did not know who would cripple who. Both Revered Yen and Ning Fan rose into the sky and drew the sky as a platform. Fellow Taoist Zhou, be careful. My flying sword is coming. Revered Yen shook his flying sword. With a flash of fiery light, the flying sword disappeared without a trace. Although it seemed like he was warning Ning Fan, Revered Yen had absolute confidence that Ning Fan would not be able to withstand his sword. Stinky Zhou Ming. Be careful. This is the Void Grade Spiritual Augmentation Technique, Shadow Slash. Bei Xiaoman reminded him anxiously. At the next moment, the fiery red flying sword that had disappeared did not attack Ning Fan. Instead, it pierced towards Ning Fan's shadow. The two of them stood in midair. Dark clouds drifted across the sky and the shadows under their feet were getting longer and longer. That sword light had already arrived in a flash. Chapter 370. The Fu Li had extraordinary insight. Even without Bei Xiaoman's reminder, Ning Fan had already seen through the mysteries of revered being Yan's flying sword. That fiery red flying sword was a peak transcendent level spirit treasure. It had two divine abilities, instant movement and beheading shadow. This Reverend Yan was not a sword cultivator, but a fire cultivator. The flying sword he wielded was only used for sneak attacks. The fiery red sword light flashed a few times and approached the shadow that Ning Fan left on the ground. Once Ning Fan's shadow is injured, he would be able to kill Ning Fan's true body as well. One had to admit that the shadow-slaying divine ability was similar to the nascent soul-snatching technique. Bei Xiaoman was really a little nervous. Two blood-red stars slowly emerged on her glabella. She raised her small hand and her fingertips were surrounded by blood-red light. She was ready to lend Ning Fan a hand at any time. However, before Bei Xiaoman could make a move, the fiery red flying sword trembled as if it was struck by a starlight. That starlight was the Separation Slayer flying sword that Ning Fan flicked out with his finger. After Ning Fan comprehended the sword intent, the power of the flying sword was incomparable to the fiery red flying sword. Bang! A cracking sound rang out as the fiery red flying sword was shattered by the starlight sword shadow. A ray of starlight circled around his body. Ning Fan's black eyes were as deep as the bottom of a lake as he indifferently glanced at revered Yan. That's not how you control a flying sword. Quick! Ning Fan changed his hand seal. All of a sudden, the starlight sword shadows that were hovering around him were divided into 10 and then 100. In an instant, there were already 10,000 sword shadows that pierced through the sky towards revered being Yan. Ning Fan rarely used his flying sword technique to kill people. However, it did not mean that he was not proficient in it. In particular, he had comprehended the trapping celestial sword essence with the help of a broken sword, which allowed him to unleash the full power of the flying sword. What a domineering sword intent! Even the two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace who were in hiding could not help but sigh in admiration. Ning Fan's sword intent contained the arrogance and overbearingness of immortal Wan Ju. It was the sword of an overlord. Just by looking at it from afar, it made the two Void Refinement Realm experts feel suffocated. The two of them could not help but guess what Ning Fan was thinking. Zhou Ming of the Endless Sea has a Void Refinement Realm expert protecting him. Could it be that he is really a member of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea? However, the Rain Palace had always kept a close eye on the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. There was certainly no such person in the Zhou clan who was known as Ning Fan. What exactly is this young man's background? The two Void Refinement Realm experts began to guess Ning Fan's identity. The domineering aura of Ning Fan's sword intent swept across the long street. The onlookers retreated once again, distancing themselves from the battlefield between Ning Fan and Yan Fan. Facing the 10,000 sword shadows, even Reverend Yan felt his scalp go numb. His strength was strong enough to incinerate ordinary half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivators to death. He had also seen many sword cultivators who had their heads cut off by flying swords. Among all the Divine Transformation Realm sword cultivators that revered Flame had seen, Ning Fan's flying sword technique could definitely be ranked within the top 3. Besides, revered Yan also knew that the flying sword technique was not Ning Fan's forte at all. This old one seems to have underestimated this person. Revered Yan knitted his brows for the first time. Now, he regarded Ning Fan as an equal opponent. He patted his storage pouch and took out a handful of red sand. He sprinkled it into the sky and the sand sparkled with blood-red starlight. The red sand covered the sky, and with a sweep of the dust, countless sword shadows collapsed one after another. As for the Separation Slayer, it was suppressed by the red sand. The body of the sword trembled violently, but it did not break. Immemorial divine weapon revered Yan's frown deepened. Initially, he was prepared to use this red sand to crush Ning Fan's flying sword to avenge himself. However, it turned out that it was just a wishful thinking. In the first round of confrontation, Ning Fan was unscathed while revered Yan had one of his flying swords broken. Revered Yan, on the other hand, was at a disadvantage. It's the blood cinnabar. This is revered Yan's natal magic treasure. It's a handful of blood cinnabar refined from the immemorial star iron. It specializes in breaking all kinds of magic treasures. Immemorial divine weapon. The flying sword that revered Ming is holding is also an immemorial divine weapon. Rumor has it that not only can immemorial divine weapons advance, but their bodies are also extremely hard and indestructible. If it's an ordinary flying sword, I'm afraid it would have been crushed by the blood cinnabar a long time ago. It's indeed a divine weapon. The surrounding cultivators discussed among themselves. When their words fell into Ning Fan's ears, his eyes turned serious. I see. No wonder this red sand is so domineering and can actually crush the flying sword shadows. It turns out that it's revered Yan's natal magic treasure. If it's a magic treasure, Ning Fan's body was already surrounded by the Separation Slayer sword. Then, he pointed at his glabella and took out a blood-red lightning whip. Looking at the red sand that filled the sky, Ning Fan did not say a word. He raised the lightning whip to the sky and whipped it 100 times in one go. Each of the whip shadows was like a blood-red lightning bolt. 100 streaks of blood-red lightning struck the red sand with great force. However, when revered Yan saw this scene, it only turned into a cold sneer. In his eyes, Ning Fan had already witnessed the power of the blood cinnabar. Yet, he still dared to use his magic treasure to attack him. Ning Fan was simply giving his magic treasure to him for him to crush. Break. Revered Yan raised his brows and changed his hand seals. The rolling red sand instantly drowned the 100 streaks of blood-red lightning. He could tell with just a glance that the blood lightning whip was just a spiritual treasure. There was no need to fear it at all. The red sand swirled towards the lightning whip shadows. The streaks of blood-red lightning collapsed one after another. However, before revered Yan could feel proud of himself, his expression suddenly changed. When the 100 streaks of whip shadows landed on the red sand, it was as if they were whipping the primordial spirit in revered Yan's dantian. After his primordial spirit was whipped 100 times by Ning Fan, revered Yan coughed out a mouthful of blood. He actually lost his balance and nearly fell from the sky. His injuries were definitely not light. At the moment when revered Yan was injured, Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and produced a gust of wind. The blood sand that filled the sky was swept away by him. He actually forcefully took away revered Yan's natal magic treasure while he was distracted. Normally, only a cultivator could use their natal magic treasure. Outsiders would not be able to use it as they wish. However, Ning Fan was different. After keeping the blood cinnabar into his sleeve, his fingertip was surrounded by a purplish-golden mist. Then, he wiped it across the blood sand. Amidst a sizzling sound, the spirit sense imprint that revered Yan planted in the blood sand was easily wiped away by Ning Fan. Puff! Before revered Yan could stabilize his body, the spirit sense imprint in his magic treasure was suddenly wiped away. He felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and half-knelt in the sky. His face was filled with shock and anger. White lightning spirit shattering technique. There's no mistaking it. This isn't the ordinary lightning of the Zhou clan. Who are you to thunder sovereign Buzhou? Why do you want to take away my natal magic treasure? Revered Yan's heart was filled with hatred. The Endless Sea had already heard about Ning Fan's technique of killing a nascent soul by extracting treasures. After all, to the cultivators of the Endless Sea, it was not a rare technique to attack a nascent soul. Many of the lightning element cultivators in the Zhou clan knew how to do it. However, the lightning of the lightning cultivators of the Zhou clan was not as domineering as Ning Fan. It was not an ordinary lightning at all. The destructive power of the blood lightning was like a heavenly tribulation, making it hard for people to defend against it. In the history of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea, there was only one person who had ever mastered the blood lightning, and that person was Thunder's sovereign Zhou. There had long been rumors in the Endless Sea that Zhou Ming was a member of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. However, after Zhou Qing, the chosen one of the Zhou clan, clarified the rumors, it was confirmed to be a rumor. Revered Yen was even more certain that there was no one named Ning Fan in the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. However, Ning Fan actually used Thunder's sovereign Zhou's blood lightning technique. Could it be just a coincidence? No. How could there be such a coincidence in this world? The two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace who were in hiding had the same thought as Revered Yen. They were already guessing Ning Fan's identity. After witnessing the blood lightning, they were even more certain that Ning Fan was a member of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. As for why Zhou Ming was not mentioned in the intelligence report of the Rain Palace, the two Void Refinement Realm experts pondered and guessed inwardly. Perhaps this Zhou Ming was an important figure in the Zhou clan. He was so important that they had to erase his existence to prevent the Rain Palace from finding out about it. The two Void Refinement Realm experts increasingly felt that their guess was correct. Moreover, it made more sense that Ning Fan had a Void Refinement Realm expert protecting him. In their opinion, the hidden Void Refinement Realm expert must be a Void Refinement Realm elder of the Zhou clan. However, they did not know which one it was. Humph. The Zhou clan has an agreement with our Rain Palace. Half-step Void Refinement Realm experts are not allowed to leave the Internal Sea without permission. How dare they violate the agreement? It seems like we have to report this matter to the Divine Sovereign. After a round of random guesses, the two of them actually went further and further away from the truth. We must find out which elder of the Zhou clan is protecting this Zhou Ming. Ning Fan naturally did not know about the intention of hiding the Void Refinement Realm expert. It was just a matter of seconds for him to ambush Revered Yen with the spirit-shattering whip. Seeing that Revered Yen was injured, Ning Fan seized the opportunity to snatch the blood cinnabar by force. Without giving Revered Yen any chance to catch his breath, he stretched out his Fuli demon wings and flapped them forcefully. With a flash of purple light, his figure disappeared. What a fast speed! Not good. Yun Yen, be careful behind you. At this moment, the expressions of the two Void Refinement Realm experts changed greatly. They no longer concealed themselves and appeared in the sky, shouting at Revered Yen. Fast! It's too fast. Ning Fan's speed was not much different from a Void Refinement Realm expert when he used his Fuli wings. His speed of 90,000 li was not something that Revered Yen could react to at all. Only the two Void Refinement Realm experts could sense the direction where Ning Fan was going. A chill suddenly came from his back. After hearing the two Void Refinement Realm experts' cries, how could Revered Yen still remain calm? He immediately turned around and scanned the area behind him with his spirit sense. It was like a spark in the sky. All of a sudden, the vast sky within 10,000 li was engulfed by a sea of flames. In the sea of flames, a white-robed figure just appeared. Before he could launch a sneak attack from Revered Yen's back, he was already engulfed by the sea of flames. Fire sense. Spirit sense of flames. Ning Fan had cultivated his sea of consciousness into the shape of a sword and condensed his sword sense. As for Revered Yen, he had cultivated his sea of consciousness into the shape of a fire and condensed his fire sense. With the strength of his half-step Void Refinement Realm spirit sense, even an ordinary half-step Void Refinement Realm expert would be severely injured when he uses his sword sense technique. Even though he, Revered Yen, was arrogant, his strength was also astonishing. At the very least, he was a few times stronger than a Void Insight Realm expert who had yet to reach the Void Refinement Realm. However, Revered Yen had to forcefully activate his fire sense again before he could suppress his injuries. Thus, He could not help but cough out a mouthful of blood again. However, he was certain that Ning Fan would definitely be severely injured by his fire sense. Burning Heaven Fire Sense. This is the technique that revered Yen is famous for. He had once used this technique to burn a half-step void refinement realm expert to death. According to rumors, revered Ming had also cultivated his sword sense by chance. However, his sword sense doesn't seem to be as domineering as revered Yan's fire sense. You should know that once revered Yan's fire sense is released, all beings below the early divine transformation realm within 50,000 li will be instantly killed and burned into ashes. Bei Xiaoman's face revealed a hint of worry. She was not even afraid of Yi Qing, but she was afraid of revered Yan. What she feared the most was this fire sense technique. In terms of large-scale killing techniques, revered Yan could even be ranked first among all the divine transformation realm experts in the Rain world. No. I haven't taken revenge on him yet. He can't die just like this. I can't. Bei Xiaoman's mind was filled with anxiety. She wanted to soar into the sky. She obviously hated Ning Fan so much, but when she saw Ning Fan being engulfed by the fire sense, she became extremely anxious. She did not like this feeling of fear and trepidation. She disliked it very much. She must pull Ning Fan out of the sea of flames. Rumble, before Bei Xiaoman could rush into the sea of flames, she forcefully halted her footsteps at the next moment. Her eyes widened in surprise. The Sea of Flames, which was powerful enough to instantly kill an early divine transformation realm expert, was forcefully split apart by an unknown force at the next moment. Ning Fan, who was dressed in white robes and had a pair of bewitching purple wings, calmly passed through the Sea of Flames. The raging flames seemed to be afraid of him as they kept avoiding him, let alone burning him. How is this possible? Revered Yen could not believe it. The fire sense that he unleashed with all his might could even severely injure a half-step void refinement realm expert. However, it could not hurt Ning Fan at all. At this moment, Ning Fan, who was standing in the Sea of Flames, actually gave revered Yen a feeling of fear and trepidation. The 100 types of 4th grade spiritual flames and the 3 types of earth vein demonic flames in his dantian were trembling in fear. It was irresistible. At this moment, Ning Fan was like the Emperor of Fire. No fire could hurt him. Fire plucking technique. Ning Fan clenched his 5 fingers and a tiny vortex of yin-yang fishes was formed below his palm. As soon as the vortex appeared, a strange and terrifying suction force spread out. The Sea of Flames, which was 10,000 li, was sucked into the tiny vortex and disappeared without a trace. No one knew that the so-called all-out attack of revered Yen had become the nourishment for the steel of sun and moon. It was going to be used to replenish the steel's soul. The surrounding cultivators were completely silent. The scene was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. They were completely shocked by what they had just witnessed. The 2 void refinement realm experts were also stunned. They could not believe what they had just seen. It was unimaginable. It was too unimaginable. The 2 of them knew that it was not difficult for them to crush revered Yan's fire sense with their void refinement realm cultivation base. However, it was just crushing. The ability that Ning Fan displayed was not as simple as crushing. It was as if it was a natural restraint. No. Restraint was not enough to describe the feeling of being devoured. To be more precise, that feeling was like plucking. Yes, plucking. It was like a cultivator plucking a human cauldron. He greedily took everything from the human cauldron, but the human cauldron could not resist him. All of a sudden, the 2 of them thought quickly. Then, they seemed to have thought of something and their faces lit up with joy. Could it be that this Zhou Ming has a way to restrain the flames? If that's the case, I'm afraid he's the only one in the entire Rain world who can obtain that item. The 2 of them exchanged glances and saw through each other's thoughts. That item was located somewhere in the Abyssal Flame Sea. Even a void fragmentation realm expert could not enter that place without permission and retrieve it. In order to retrieve that item, the Rain Palace had deliberately nurtured revered Yen and provided him with all kinds of preferential treatment for his cultivation. They allowed him to devour the earth vein demonic flame and protected him with the protection of a void refinement realm expert. They allowed him and his disciples to break the law arrogantly. However, even if they want to rely on revered Yen to retrieve that item, they would at least need to nurture him to the void fragmentation realm. Everything was too uncertain. Who could be sure if revered Yen could attain the void fragmentation realm after tens of thousands of years? If this Zhou Ming is willing to help the Rain Palace, we don't need Yun Yan's help anymore. We can't let Yun Yan continue to fight against this Zhou Ming. Once Yun Yan offends Zhou Ming completely, it will be difficult for us to recruit him to work for the Rain Palace. The two of them took a step forward, preparing to stop the battle between revered Yen and Ning Fan. No one knew that the two Void Refinement Realm experts actually had the thought of befriending Ning Fan. Ning Fan slowly withdrew the vortex on his palm and licked his lips as if it was tasty. Such pure fire sense power had filled the steel of sun and moon with at least 1% of its soul power. He did not continue to kill revered Yen. By extracting his primordial spirit, touching his magic treasures and devouring his fire sense, Ning Fan had already severely injured him. With Ning Fan's personality, he was naturally unwilling to make enemies. However, it was also unwise to kill revered Yen in front of tens of thousands of people and offend the Rain Palace. Even if he really wants to kill revered Yen, it would be better to launch a sneak attack behind everyone's back, hand over the 3 types of earth vein demonic flames. Ning Fan's cold voice left no room for refusal. Impossible. Don't even think about it. Ha! You can't take away my position. You can't. Revered Yen seemed to have gone mad. He had never felt such strong killing intent towards Ning Fan before. In the past, he only wanted to kill Ning Fan and seize his flames. Now, however, he wanted to kill Ning Fan and eliminate all future troubles. Ning Fan had threatened his position. It was because Ning Fan was the Emperor of Fire and he was not afraid of fire. If he is still alive, the Rain Palace would no longer need him and he would lose the full support of the Rain Palace. Void Fire Technique, Samadhi Fire Palm. Revered Yan's eyes were already bloodshot. He must kill Ning Fan before the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts befriended Ning Fan. Chapter 371. Virtual Fire Art, Samadhi Fire Palm. Yen Zun's eyes were already blood-red. He must kill Ning Fan before the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts befriend him. With a grab of his 5 fingers, 3 earth vein demonic flames of different colors floated before him. With another grab, 100 grade, for spirit flames appeared dazzlingly. Yen Zun clasped his palms together. All of the flames suddenly began to gather, turning into an exquisite jade green palm imprint. Without saying a word, he slammed it at Ning Fan with great force. This fire palm was a void-level Dharma spell and it had been cultivated by the Flame Lord for thousands of years. The strength of that palm strike was infinitely close to that of an early void refinement realm attack. It was a supreme technique bestowed by the Rain Palace. The power of a single palm turned into a 40,000 zhang palm imprint. In the midst of the deafening rumble, space shattered, and the entire Black Warrior city shook violently. The power of that palm strike was definitely not something an ordinary half-step void refinement realm cultivator could withstand. This palm was beyond everyone's expectations. All the cultivators who were spectating could see that the winner between Ning Fan and Yen Zun had already been decided. Ning Fan was the winner while Yen Zun was the loser. Obviously, Yen Zun had kept his promise and handed over the earth vein demonic flame. Ning Fan had already shown mercy and spared revered Yen's life. However, revered Yen didn't know what was good for him. He took advantage of Ning Fan's carelessness and sent out a fire palm of absolute death in an attempt to kill Ning Fan. How despicable and shameless. The 2 Void Refinement Realm experts were enraged at the same time. Just now, they wanted to stop the battle. However, they did not expect that Flame Revered would continue to sneak an attack on Ning Fan after he was defeated. That was a complete disgrace to the Rain Palace. No, face was not a big deal. If they killed Ning Fan, they would lose the chance to make a contribution. Bringing Ning Fan back to the Rain Palace and helping the Divine Sovereign retrieve that item was a great contribution. Yun Yen. Stop. If you dare to hurt this person, the God Emperor will punish you heavily. The threats of the two did not enter the ears of the Flame Lord at all. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Even though he did not kill Flame Revered, he was secretly observing his every move. It was certainly impossible for him to be ambushed by a mere Flame Revered. Wrong, he did it wrong again. Was it because he had too many concerns that the Flame Reverend felt that he was weak and easy to bully? This person did not know what was good for him. If he were to let this person go, he would definitely leave behind countless troubles. It's me, I was too merciful. Ning Fan took a step forward. His killing intent immediately rose. This Flame Reverend was very strong. If not for the fact that his steel of sun and moon countered all flames, it would not have been easy for him to defeat the Flame Reverend. Since this person hated Ning Fan to the bone, how could Ning Fan let him go? If they let this person go, would another Gusa be massacred? If the Flame Reverend wanted to kill someone, even Dong Su would not be able to stop him. The Pleasure Devil Island was in danger, the Bai Yao sect was in danger, and with this person's capability, if he found out about Yu country, he and the other girls would definitely be in danger. Ning Fan did not regret saving Yalan. The only thing he regretted was that he seemed to be a little lenient towards Flame Reverend. So what if I offend two Void Refinement Realm experts? So what if we offend the Rain Palace? If I let this person go, I won't offend him. Since he could not avoid offending the Flame Reverend, he would kill the Flame Reverend and silence him. Sword Crystal, appear. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the last Sword Crystal. It contained the full force attack of a mid-void refinement realm sword cultivator. He had already given the early stage Sword Crystal to Shi Ran and Wu Yen. This was his last one. Ning Fan's defense against flames could be said to be heaven-defying. However, if he wants to kill Revered Flame instantly, even his Black Tempest soul-splitting technique might not be able to do it. Although the Sword Crystal was precious, it was the best use for it to kill a potential threat. Break! An extremely dazzling sword light shot out from Ning Fan's palm. At the next moment, it turned into 1,000,000 rays of sword light with terrifying auras. The Sword Crystal was already extremely strong in the first place. After Ning Fan fused it with his sword intent, its power was stimulated to its maximum. The flaming palm that was powerful enough to severely injure a half-step void refinement realm was crushed by the 1,000,000 rays of sword light in just a breath's time. Countless rays of sword light instantly drowned Flame Reverend. His face was filled with astonishment. He could not understand why Ning Fan actually possessed such a precious sword crystal. A mid-void refinement realm sword crystal. Impossible. Even I find it hard to obtain such a powerful life-saving treasure. Why do you have it? Why? Ah! Amidst a miserable shriek, Flame Reverend's physical body exploded into a mist of blood. Even his primordial spirit was crushed and he died instantly. All that was left were balls of fire. All of them were the spirit flames that Flame Reverend had devoured when he was still alive. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and kept them away along with his storage pouch. The entire Black Warrior city was shocked. Ning Fan actually dared to kill a revered elder of the Rain Palace in front of everyone. This man is really audacious. Ning Fan coldly stared at the two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace. His eyes flashed with ferocious light. He was the one who killed them. So what if he killed them? Why does he need to worry about this matter being exposed and offending the Rain Palace? If I kill these two Void Refinement Realm experts as well as all the cultivators who witnessed this incident on Penglai Immortal Island, those who should be killed, those who should be captured and those who should be silenced, only sparing those who are close to me who will never betray me, as long as I don't let any of them go. Who would know that Ning Fan would kill Flame Reverend? It's fine if I don't kill them. If I do, I'll eliminate them completely. If I'm afraid of the slightest thing, there's no need for me to continue cultivating as a devil. Hiss, the two Void Refinement Realm experts sucked in a cold breath. If they did not see it wrongly, that mid-Void Refinement Realm sword chi was gentle and treacherous. Both of them recalled a person at the same time. It seemed like the third elder of the Zhou clan was a mid-Void Refinement Realm sword cultivator. In other words, this piece of sword crystal is actually the third elder's sword. Ning Fan is also hiding a mid-Void Refinement Realm third elder of the Zhou clan. When they met Ning Fan's current gaze, both of them felt a chill in their hearts for no reason. Ning Fan's current gaze was as if he wanted to kill them to silence them. It was just too terrifying. Ning Fan's current killing intent actually gave the two of them an extremely dangerous feeling. Both of them were stunned. Could it be that the third elder who is hiding in Ning Fan's heavenly dwelling has given an order to go all out and kill both of us as well? Yes. That's right. The third elder of the Zhou clan has a strong cultivation base. He is also ruthless. It's fine if he doesn't kill them, but once he does, he will kill his entire clan. This third elder is going to take action against the two of them. Rumor has it that the third elder is about to break through to the late Void Refinement Realm. His sword techniques are so strong that killing early Void Refinement Realm experts is as easy as killing ants. The two of them immediately realized that they must immediately clear their misunderstanding with Ning Fan to prevent the two of them from becoming enemies. It was not only because they were afraid of the third elder of the Zhou clan but also because they needed to befriend Ning Fan in order to obtain that item. Even though the two of them were unhappy about Ning Fan killing Flame Reverend, there was nothing they could do about it. Flame Reverend was already dead. Both of them had failed in their duties. Even if they returned to the Rain Palace, they would probably be punished. If they can recruit Ning Fan to serve the Rain Palace, not only would they not fail in their duties, but they would also make great contributions and be rewarded handsomely by the Divine Sovereign. Ning Fan had a natural restraint against flames. Even if he had yet to break through to the Void Fragmentation Realm, he was very confident that he could enter the Sea of Flames and retrieve that item. This matter was the most important matter in the Rain world. Compared to this matter, the life of Flame Reverend was not worth mentioning at all. The two of them exchanged glances with each other and squeezed out a smile on their faces. Inwardly, they were determined to resolve the misunderstanding between them today and befriend Ning Fan. Little friend, are you hurt? It was really dangerous just now. If little friend is hurt, we would really feel guilty. This Yun Yen really doesn't know what's good for him. He had obviously lost the bet, but he still plotted against little friend. He really deserved to die. Even if little friend doesn't attack him, the two of us will kill him. Their words stunned countless cultivators. Originally, everyone thought that the two Void Refinement Realm experts were going to avenge Flame Reverend. However, the development of the matter was far beyond everyone's expectations. What kind of development was this? The revered elder of the Rain Palace was chopped into pieces. Not even his bones were left. Why did these two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace still have the mood to laugh? Or were they laughing at Ning Fan, the murderer? Even though it was not wrong for Ning Fan to kill someone to protect himself, killing a revered elder of the Rain Palace in front of everyone was like slapping the Rain Palace's face. How could the Rain Palace not pursue such a serious matter? This was not in line with the domineering style of the Rain Palace. Oh. Seniors, don't you think that I'm guilty of killing someone? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. Obviously, he did not expect that the two Void Refinement Realm experts would actually smile at him with kindness. His plan of killing the two Void Refinement Realm experts on the spot was temporarily postponed. He thought to himself. Could it be that Flame Reverend has a grudge against them and killing them just happens to fulfill their wish? Little friend, you must be joking. The Endless Sea is a lawless place. Killing is not a crime. Besides, Yun Yen was the one who tried to kill him first. Little friend, you were just trying to protect yourself. What crime is there to be guilty of? Little friend, don't worry. No one will blame you for Yun Yen's death. The two of us can guarantee that. Moreover, little friend is much more useful to the Rain Palace than Yun Yen. Little friend, you don't have to worry about anything. The two Void Refinement Realm experts chuckled as if Flame Reverend's death was just an insignificant matter. Ning Fan stared at the two of them deeply. From their words, the reason why they changed their attitudes was because he was more useful than Flame Reverend. Inwardly, he thought. Could it be that the two of them have something to ask of me? Otherwise, given their identity as Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace, it was impossible for them to speak to me in such a soft and gentle tone. So that's how it is. I have value to be used by the Rain Palace. On the other hand, this value could allow Ning Fan to gain a lot of benefits from the Rain Palace. How is the third elder? One of the Void Refinement Realm experts suddenly asked with a smile. Ning Fan remained silent. The more one talks, the more mistakes he would make. He had yet to figure out the real purpose of these two experts. Hee. It's fine if little friend doesn't want to say it. The two of us can also guess that old man Zhou Chen must be hiding something in your heavenly dwelling. Zhou Chen. Ning Fan's heart skipped a beat, but his expression did not show it. This name was very unfamiliar. At least, it was not known in the internal sea. Seeing that Ning Fan did not reply, the two of them did not ask any further. Instead, they suddenly asked another question. Little friend, are you willing to join the Rain Palace and become a revered elder? If little friend is interested, the two of us can recommend you to the Rain Palace. His words were too shocking. All the cultivators in the city who heard his words were in an uproar. Since when did the threshold of becoming a revered elder of the Rain Palace become so low? Didn't they reject devil cultivators and demon cultivators from joining the Rain Palace? Didn't they say that those who kill people like flies are not allowed to join the Rain Palace? Why was revered Ming still valued by the Void Refinement Realm and wanted to recruit him after he killed the revered elder of the Rain Palace? It was unimaginable. It was too unimaginable. Ning Fan pondered over the words of the two Void Refinement Realm experts. He seemed to have some guesses. These two people probably really have something to ask of me. Otherwise, they would not give me such a great benefit. Not everyone could become a revered elder of the Rain Palace. Once you become a revered elder of the Rain Palace, almost no one in the 800 cultivation countries would dare to offend you. Seniors, what request do you have? You can just tell me. If there are enough benefits, it's not like I can't help you. Of course. The two Void Refinement Realm experts' faces were filled with joy. Little friend, do you have time to talk to us in detail? Little friend, don't worry. The two of us can swear on our Great Heart Devil Oath that we will never hurt you. We will also not put you in too much danger. As for the benefits, we will definitely satisfy you. Ning Fan also did not think that they had the ability to hurt him. After giving the two of them a deep look, Ning Fan retracted his killing intent. Without revealing his expression, he landed outside the southern tower and smiled at Bei Xiaoman. Miss Bei, do you mind lending me a place to have a good talk with these two seniors? Of course I mind. Bei Xiaoman glared at Ning Fan angrily. She did not know why, but she would get angry when she saw Ning Fan's smile. She could not bear to see him being complacent. However, when she saw that Ning Fan was safe and sound, she felt relieved. Fortunately, it did not cause a bigger dispute. When she saw Ning Fan killing revered Flame just now, she was really scared to death. Offending the Rain Palace was not a joke. Is that so? What does it have to do with me if you mind? Seniors, please enter the tower for a talk. Ning Fan walked into the southern tower alone. The two Void Refinement Realm experts exchanged glances. They could not hide the excitement in each other's eyes and followed him into the southern tower. Bei Xiaoman was furious. I have already said that I mind. How could Ning Fan do as he pleases and enter the southern tower without permission? Since it has nothing to do with you, why did you ask me? Are you trying to anger me on purpose? The southern tower was her, Bei Xiaoman's, territory. Did she allow him to enter? Who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? My lady, please calm down. The matter that Big Brother Zhou is discussing with the two Void Refinement Realm seniors is a matter of life and death. If the discussion fails, I'm not sure if those two seniors will hurt Big Brother Zhou. They have a favor to ask of Big Brother Zhou. That's why they showed mercy and did not pursue the matter of Revered Flame's death. But if... Yalan was a little worried. Her cultivation base was not high, but she was an intelligent woman. Of course I know. Otherwise, I'll kick that stinking Zhou Ming out. Bei Xiaoman glared at Yalan. She suddenly felt a little annoyed. Just now, she heard from Lu Qing that the reason why Ning Fan killed Revered Flame and his disciple was all because of this Yalan. In the past, Bei Xiaoman had never paid attention to this subordinate of hers, much less looked up to her. Now, he was looking at Yalan as if he wanted to eat her up. He felt inexplicably irritated and a little envious. What right did he have to kill someone for Yalan but not for me, Bei Xiaoman? Why did Ning Fan treat others so well but bully her everywhere? Don't call him Big Brother Zhou. Remember, you're not allowed to do that. Bei Xiaoman was so angry that she stomped her feet. Then, she ran off to play a game of pricking straw dolls with needles. The one she was going to stab was undoubtedly Ning Fan. Lu Qing stared at Bei Xiaoman, who was venting her anger everywhere. He stroked his beard and seemed to have understood something. Hee. It seems like the fourth young lady already has a sweetheart. Even though Revered Ming is a cultivator from the lower worlds, his innate potential is really high. He is a good match for young lady. However, Lu Qing suddenly sighed. But young miss has an engagement with the Shimen clan. Should I do something to prevent young miss from getting too close to Revered Ming? You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.